actually. This one.
Everybody, and welcome to the City of Kingston Planning Board meeting. Today is December 8th, 2025. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I'm the Planning Director for the City of Kingston. Before we begin the meeting, I'm just going to go over a few quick announcements. I want everybody to understand the meeting is being recorded and live streamed. So please be aware of that and be cognizant of it. If you do have a cell phone with you, I'm just going to ask that you please silence it so that it does not interfere with our meeting. If you have conversations that are not being held with the board, we ask that you please take them outside of the room. There is going to be a meeting in the conference room too, but the chambers are available for you. If you need to use the restrooms, they are through the chambers. Men's would be to the left, women's to the right. If there is an emergency, we ask that you please use the stairs, and if you need assistance, ask us and we'll assist you. With that, I am going to turn the meeting over to Chairman Platt to begin the meeting at 6:05 and introduce the members.
Thank you. We'll begin with introductions. My name is Wayne Platt Jr. We also have members Vince Archer, Sage Newkirk, Andrew Harris, and Kyra Grundig. Suzanne Cahill is our planning director. Tyler Dede is the assistant planner. And Alderwoman Sarah Paskey is the common council liaison to the planning board. Item number item number 1 on the agenda. That's your thing, thought. We don't have the adoption of the November 17th, 2025 planning board meeting minutes. Everybody's had an opportunity to look at them. Any questions, deletions, or additions at this time? Right, so at this time, I'll make a motion that everybody's voting right now to adopt them. Do I have a second? Second by Andrew Harris. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, moving into public hearings, item number 2 is 272 Wall Street. It's a special permit renewal for a wireless telecommunications site and associated site improvements. Section block and lot is 48.331-6-7. Seeker determination, Transect Zone T5 and Ward 2, new singular wireless AT&T. And Reformed Dutch Church is the new singular wireless is the applicant. Reformed Dutch Church is the owner. Anybody besides the owner applicant wishing to speak on item number 2? Here.
I'm the applicant.
You weren't here. Right. Okay. You want to? What?
I'm filling in for Martha Brady. This is
Okay.
the application. She's
We'll be gentle.
Either one have to go. Just get grab. Yes, I familiarized myself with her application.
Okay.
She does my date, so she travel.
Can you Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Brenda Glass Lewis, LASK-LEWIS. I'm with Centerline Communications and the site acquisition consultant. Here's the AT&T is proposing to install some antennas, radios, and ancillary equipment inside the steeple at the church. And all the equipment looks like it's going to be installed inside the building.
Okay, so is there any changes to the appearance on the outside where these things are?
From the photos that I've seen, I've only seen a couple of photos, but there's no change.
Good. All right, the application was reviewed and approved by Landmarks Commission and Heritage Area back in 2020. And the initial permit was approved back in 2020 as well. Any questions from the board? Okay. Good. Under seeker, this is considered a type 2 action, so no further review of the board is required for that. That's it. Leave that on, just original conditions carried forward. And if there's any changes along the way between now and when the expiration of the approval,
We can,
you can come back.
I was gonna say, if there's anything significant, if not, they do as-built drawings and we just provide it to the building department.
And is everybody good with a 5-year renewal on this? And then, okay. And that would come back to the,
We would come back to for an administrative review, as long as there aren't any changes.
okay. And do we want to make this August expiration on this thing? Was that?
Mhm.
So what would that date be? I would make that.
August of 23rd.
Okay, so that would be a little bit shy of 5 years.
Yeah.
4 years and
It's
3/4. Okay. Okay. All right, so at this time, I'll make a motion that we, item number 2, for a term of 5 years to come back for renewal in August of 2030. All original conditions will be carried forward and the renewal by the planning administration if no changes have happened. And that is a motion. Do I have a second on that? Second by Vince Archer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
All done.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 3 is 21 Elizabeth Street and a portion of 67 Wall Street. It's a site plan and 3 major waivers, which includes building length, unit count, and front access. Demolition of existing building and to construct a new 15-unit multiplex. Section block and lot is 56.124-1-12. Secret determination. Transect zone is T4N, Ward 3, Ulster County. Kingston Schools are the owners. And Medea Construction is the applicant. Anybody besides the applicant and owners wishing to speak on item number 3?
The presentation before.
Is there people signed up to speak to for this?
Yeah, but
Okay.
they're going to do a little presentation first and then. They're telling.
We're waiting for them to, so anybody wants to speak on this item, Stu said they're gonna do a little presentation first, and then we'll have the public speaking. Hi. I wish we had the chairs in here. Sometimes you need to be. There's a chair here, you can take a chair.
Yes. Step dance, all of the artists from, BABA, who, has been working on this project, and Maria Renya is one of our great project managers, and then, Rob's the wonderful developer builder, so. Oh, and Hans, hi, whom I'm meeting for the first time. Ask him all the questions. So, This is a very brief summary of our responses to the comments and queries that are more exhaustively answered in the text and the drawings. And a couple of extra tweaks that we made in the spirit of those comments, and also being mindful of the public comments. So everything tried to synthetically take care of those two. So this is the proposed new 21 Elizabeth Street, shown in the context of the street, which we studied, in great length, and then that's the. I mean, some people seeing this for the first time? Yeah, okay, but must be. Go ahead. Here's a summary of the changes from the previous submission. It's a lot about the landscape and the fencing to improve the site and also improve the site's relationship to the neighborhood. And to also then integrate landscaping in relationship to the parking that seems to be really on its way to being approved by the school board. We have an agreement, and Dennis can speak to that. And so we were asked to make the sidewalk larger, and we added a serviceberry tree, and we have plantings at the front. We were able to speak to our funder, at DHCR, and no longer have a playground here, so it can all be resident gardens. There's planting along all the edges with we're going to take down the existing chain link and replace it with a nice 5-foot tall wood fence, as well as tall growing hedge and holly, I believe.
Yeah, Holly, the
Holly-
cedar at the
Cedar set. And yeah, see, you really know something. And then this is new. We were able to shift the parking back to get that planting strip. We have additional planting strips as a median in between the parking, and it includes trees as per code and because we want them on either side. The school dumpsters, we've been able to actually move the school dumpsters further away than they are now. The school has them placed closer to the property. We've been able to move them further away. And that was a part in service of an emergency gate that we will have here so that fire trucks can easily go in and out of the property without turning around. And there's a pedestrian gate as well. That pedestrian gate will be controlled by 21 Elizabeth Street so that they can decide when to open it to the school population or the town population. Then we have again broadened our planting strips to the north side of the building. We've defined a planting strip on the other side as well as a fence. And this will, you can see it in a later slide, will be permeable or porous paving. It's actually there is grass that grows up within the cells. And I think that, but that's the spirit of it. Oh, and our dumpsters will be here. And that from the change here is that we've moved our electric bike parking okay to the side in order to make room for those dumpsters. And do you want to? Why don't we just keep going? I know you've got a lot to do tonight. Is that good for an overview? Pardon?
Yeah, that's good for the only thing for you. Gonna let the public speak and then we'll have questions.
Yeah,
We're
sure.
gonna let the public
Okay, great.
speak for a little bit and then we'll go back to you.
Okay, great. You want to do that now?
Yeah.
Yep, sure.
So there was just the one signed up. I'll call them, then they're here.
Okay. Sophie Kravitz and Oliver Tanner. Okay.
I'll go on up.
Sure, yeah, come on up to them.
Should I sit up here or? Okay. Hi, my name
Hi.
is Oliver. Last name is Tanner. Side of 36 Washington, so I'm one of the neighbors to
Yeah.
the project. So first I want to say, that I'm not against the project, but I do have a few questions and concerns. So, I had a chance to review, the latest site plan submission that I think was posted on the 3rd. So spent some time looking through the PDF, and it's a pretty good document, a lot better than, the one that was, posted on the, Ulster County website. Because I had a concern because, when I initially, looked at the Ulster County website, it didn't show, the east-west elevations. It just showed, Elizabeth Street, access, and it makes it look kind of nice and condensed. But when you look at east-west, you have a very large building. And so I thought it was a bit misleading not to show that, to the public. But I see that now in the new, the new drawing package. It's great. So, I appreciate that. I do think personally, for me, it's too big. I'd like to, see it be a little smaller. I feel like it's going to be a really, monolithic structure that I'm just going to look at every day because it's right at, my backyard. But, yeah, so that's my personal opinion, is that it's too big and too tall. Second, parking, I didn't realize that this is actually part of the Kingston school now, the property. So I guess it does all make sense. So I was concerned about student pickup. It's already, at the end of the day, it gets very narrow in the back when all the cars come in to pick up the students. So if not, you change the way how the layout is, you make it much narrower. Or parents still going to be able to pick up their kids in that area, or is that going to get brought somewhere else? They're going to do that on Wall Street, or is student pickup not going to happen anymore? Like, how's that going to affect that? So, the plan also shows 15 parking spaces and 1 ADA space, so, which is great. But if, let's say, there's 2 people per household living there, that's looking at roughly 30 cars. Where are the other 15 cars going to go? So Elizabeth Street is, I think, would be the next closest street. But that's, I think, already at maximum capacity. Anybody who lives here has driven down that road, especially on a weekend or at the end of the day when people are at home. It's packed with cars, and it's basically a one lane road, and you gotta be careful when another car comes that you're not, you have to yield or whatever. So it's a very tight spot. So I'm not sure how all that's going to get handled and how that's going to get dealt with during construction, because trucks have to go in and out through that area. So I could see that be somewhat of a problem to my neighbors on that street. But I would hope that they can chime in at some point on that. One of those questions would also be whether or not that street would be closed, or a section of that street closed to parking during construction. Another thing regarding parking is on the site plan, I noticed that you show vehicle charging stations, which sounds great since people are trying to go EV and whatnot. Will those charging stations be available to the general public after school hours, or is that just for people working at school, or how does that lay out? Third, water runoff. I saw on the latest plans, and really appreciative of this. I saw that you added the dry wells, which is great, because in our backyard, it's basically a low spot. Everything is just going to collect where our shed is, and it gets really soft in the springtime. The school piles up the snow in the back, and so springtime is kind of a problem. Things get really wet in that area. So I appreciate that you guys are making an effort to collect or redirect the water to a different low spot to handle that. But having said that, where, with having a fence in the middle of the road now, or in that parking area, where is all the snow going to put? It's gonna get divided up differently, like where, how's snow handling gonna be handled, snow staging? Infrastructure, I kind of looked through the plan, I'm not, civil engineer, so I don't really know exactly, what, to what extent we looked at this, but can our sewer system and water supply and electric handle the additional use? And going on to landscaping, the landscaping plan looks nice, but honestly, I personally would prefer to just have like a wall of evergreens on the west side, just to create some privacy. I'm sure people that are going to live in that house don't want to look at my backyard and feel like having that extra privacy would be nice. There is a massive walnut tree right in the back corner. Part of your drawing shows it as potentially remaining. Part of the drawing shows it completely eliminated. I have a love-hate relationship with that tree. It's a beautiful old tree. It gives us privacy and shade. But in the late summer, when the walnuts drop, it's the biggest mess. And I can guarantee you, nobody's going to want to park underneath that tree. Nobody's going to want to play in the playground under that tree or plant anything there. So I would like, with that said, I'd like to just, if it comes down, I can understand, it getting removed potentially. I would just like to see maybe a different landscape plan that would address a little more privacy for me and the other neighbors in the area. I can't speak for what they want to have, but, I like to just maybe have some tall trees that are evergreens and maybe an 8-foot fence. I think you put a 6-foot fence up there. 8 foot would be even nicer. So, not to be neighborly to the neighbors, but yeah. What else? I think that's kind of it for now. Yeah, one last minor concern. I know you guys have put some lighting in. I hate all the new LED lighting that's out there. It's so damn bright. The school already has a really bright light over the new playground. I get it. You got to have safety and have things lit at night. That's great. But if you're putting in new LED lighting, just maybe consider something that is on a not super high lumen output, or something that's on a motion detection detector, so it turns on and off, and it's just not like a flashlight, or spotlight that runs all night long. Just keep it kind of nice, And I see you. The drawings of the building are pretty good, and it looks like you guys are sort of on the right track and maybe something special. So, yeah, that's it.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else who has not signed up that wishes to speak on this project? Okay. So I guess we'll have some questions for you now. Okay.
Okay.
So
We'll go back to,
wait, so I have a question. We can answer some of those really thoughtful comments as we go through this, because I think we've taken care of some of them. Is that what we should do?
Okay.
And then, but I don't think I have them exhaustively. So, here is a revised, we revised the landscape, right? In this render to show, fairly young service trees, the things soon after they were planted, and also the existing landscape. Is there anything else? No? Okay, good. So next one. This has to do very few comments here. Just, we had been asked to, I don't know why the mailbox, the mailbox on the other one. So there's no garbage room, because the garbage is going to be placed in the dumpsters, and removed by
a service who removes the garbage. And we are going to, if we have folks who are older or need some help, where it's going to be part of the management plan to help them with the garbage. But this was at the suggestion of Rupco, who has a lot of experience. But meanwhile, there is storage for everyone. There is bike room for everyone. And I think that's, oh, right. And the most important thing, this is not a legitimate daycare. It's the idea is that it's a youth room. The idea is that if we could have one big community space, but that it made a lot of sense to at least have doors and a wall in between them so that they could have two functions going on because they're quite large. So we initially thought that one would be for community meetings, one might be able to be outfitted for the younger residents in the co-op, but honestly, it's going to be up to the residents to decide how they use these rooms. But that was.
Is there going to be interconnectivity between the two?
Yes, there should be, and I think this might be a slightly older plan because there should be doors right here.
Okay.
And that's important because if there's ever, God forbid, some kind of climactic event, and it makes sense for this to be a place of refuge, there needs to be room for everybody and hopefully even someone for the neighbors. Yeah, sorry about that. I think that's plenty here. And then the next one, we just, thanks, because it helps to have the. This was just to explain how mail worked, in that we have in each of the stair lobbies, we have the mailboxes for those residents, kind of a nice little sub-community feature. And we also found some storage room underneath the stair for like Amazon boxes so that you don't have to have these huge boxes piled up everywhere. They can go underneath the stairwell. Anyone who opens directly onto the porch will get their mail directly. And we have figured out the emergency numbering, and we've got in the elevation, you should see the 21 Elizabeth Street on the front of the house. Okay, that's it.
Have you reached out to the post office about that layout? Because sometimes when there are multi-family structures, they want to see one mail bank
One mail
of
bank.
boxes and not have the.
Gotcha.
I mean,
So, I think Corey, we misunderstood and reached out to how we number them,
Okay.
where they don't want a dash, they want the name and just 21 Elizabeth Street, but we didn't ask that question. We will. If we go back, there is an alternative place we could put them in the front.
Right. I mean, I like what you plan.
Right, yeah, right,
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha. And if they don't, if you go back, I'll just show you where they'll go. If they don't, we can put them here.
Yeah.
Right, so they'll just be one big, right? Yeah. Okay, thanks. This is really honestly to show you the AFOCA units. Our HVAC doesn't have outdoor, good for the neighbors. They're not outdoor condensers, right? And there's no fans outside. The AFOCA units it's a new kind of heat pump. And it works just the box on the inside, and there's two round, or if you prefer, a rectangular grill. But that's kind of it. Yeah.
It's good because it's up there now.
Yeah, on a few different renderings where on the windows, actually. So some are showing divided light, some are not. So what is what's your plan?
Right. That is a really good question. We go back and forth. We're thinking of doing them all the divided light.
It would be more compatible with the neighborhood. That's
Yeah. So
why we're planning it out.
okay, there you go. I guess what? We are definitely doing it.
Right. On the first view there, the first slide. Where it shows the streetscape,
Yeah, want to go back? Or no, you're the only one who can go back.
right there, that one.
Oh, this one, yeah.
The house on the corner.
Yeah.
Is missing. Is that, can we,
the red,
Other corner.
Oh, the other corner?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a big house there.
Could we, I mean, you're not gonna do it tonight, but can you include that?
Yes,
Of
absolutely,
course.
absolutely, absolutely.
And like, it could have been our Google shot. But it
Yeah,
didn't.
it had to.
It
It
looks like-
had to
it
be,
looks like-
I mean, it's weird because this is these are assembled.
Yeah.
It looks like Predator, the movie.
Yeah, right. So who did that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll get it back.
You'll get it back.
Sorry, it looks like Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on the old one? I don't know. We'll go.
Okay.
So
Um,
it's very strange. How is that even possible? These are just photographs. Okay. Yeah.
Talk about the raised, the planting beds there.
Right. Yes. So,
You-
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So do you really think there's a need for that? That people are gonna actually, and there's other
Right.
questions I have. Like you have a big shade tree over top of three of them.
Right.
How is that gonna, how do you,
Yeah, so, well, things, you know, you could flower, there are definitely things that grow in the shade. I'm not, and the sun does move. So that, is that your walnut tree?
No, that's
Yeah,
me.
it's a maple.
You're looking at the-
That's the maple.
Yeah.
And you got until about 12 o'clock.
Right.
Until the sun comes around.
Right, right. So, I understood your concern. I think actually the larger concern is, are people gonna buy in to using these beds? And if they don't, how are they maintained and what happens to them?
I'm just thinking maybe that, if that space over there could be used for more of, open space for the residents to enjoy, whether they're gonna,
Yeah.
It's like flex. space.
It definitely could. I think where this came from, just so you know the history, is that our community land trust partner is Taproot, and they're farmers. So I think they were quite gung ho that.
and believe me, I understand that whole thing.
Okay,
But I was wondering
yes,
if, have it as an open space first, and then if there's a people are asking for it, can we have something there?
I think that's really wise.
That's-
I think that's a really wise tack where if there's a real appetite for it, we could, the Taproot gives the people the support, because that's the one thing, they can support it. It's not just saying, figure out how to plant stuff that grows in shade.
Maybe it's just a skeptic in me, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking that
Yeah.
this is not if they build it,
They will come.
it will come.
I think that's,
Not feeling that,
right, yeah.
but it's just
No,
that's,
We hear you.
a suggestion.
I think that's a very good tack.
And
Yeah, we might have a demonstration better too, just to, you know.
I mean, I've always said
Jeez.
I want to put a raised bed in my yard, but I just never get.
You're just, well,
All
right.
Jumping to the pedestrian gate.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on when you said the who's going to control that? And
So, right now, the agreement that's in process, with the school grants 21 Elizabeth Street Cooperative, the controls of it.
so when we talk about control, what are,
They can decide when it's locked and when it's.
so, okay, so it will maybe during the daylight hours, it will remain unlocked for people to go through either way, or?
Part of these things, since it's going to be between the co-op and the school board, I can't totally answer, but that sounds like a scenario that could very well take place.
Because little secluded areas, so, after hours
Right,
tend to lead to
right,
mischievous activity.
right. My sense is that the board would have it controlled more than less.
And I'm
right?
sure
But
this
there's
is,
never gonna, they're just not gonna want.
and I'm sure this is something that they've already,
Yeah.
had questions about, or maybe they already have the answers, so.
Yeah,
this-
yeah.
I think,
That's also noted.
Um, There's the issue of the side entrance versus the front entrance, right? That's what you're gonna be, the waiver's gonna be, there's one of the waivers, right? This is something new to us, with the new form-based code. We've already denied folks with applications for wanting waivers on front entrance versus side entrance or rear entrance. So do you have a plan B if this doesn't go?
Well, not for
waiver?
the structure of the building, but I would say this, if you think of the front porch as the front entrance, and if you imagine there was another set of foyer doors, then, or this was glazed, then it would simply be a single loaded corridor that opened onto the rooms. So in that sense, we'd be at the letter of the law. So the letter of the law would be, to put some kind of operable panel here and to put another set of doors that you have to go through. Is that preferable? I don't think so. I think the natural ventilation, the sense of high neighbor, is somehow aggrandized in the way it is now. But I would say, so in a certain sense, it is a front porch. It just then, think of it going through two swinging doors, and that's what it's a side porch. But it's no different than if you had a foyer and then just stairs going up. To us.
All right, no, it's a good answer. The evening renderings,
Yes, but we have some. We have an evening rendering with very low light.
you have
This
additional
is
ones?
actually a
Yeah.
light pollution part of the code.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. This might even be right. We were going to show it at its worst. No curtains.
All right,
Yeah.
if we could maybe show some other angles,
Okay.
additional,
Yeah.
how it looks from different angles, the rear of the property, the Washington Avenue side,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Not a problem. We got the other area. Thank you, Corey.
Can we talk about some of the issues that Mr. Tanner brought up now?
Yeah, well, this one, there is a light pollution code, and we have our light fixtures later on that will show you. But maybe if we keep flipping through, we actually can address them more in sequence, because you saw, we have all different kinds of native plants. We can move them around on the plan to make sure the density along that side feels good. But the cedars grow really tall, so that's why they were kind of advisable to go above the 5 or 6 feet. Get tall. Anyway, maybe let's go to the next one. We found the next one. Guess I won't keep boring you with this. Keep going. Yeah, we'll get you out of here. There's 21 Elizabeth Street. Okay, and here's there are 3 colors were allowed, I believe. A gray, a green,
Green, brown, black, right?
brown, black. So this is the kind of the lightest side of the palette, and that's what we want to use. Okay, the other thing, we could do a green that goes with the plants. But you want to go and keep going. Is that backwards or forwards? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you keep going, I guess this issue.
That was about that.
That was about the roof, which isn't coming up, so we're not going to talk about it. The building is only around 1.5 feet taller than the previous building. It has to be close to 50 feet by code. That's exactly what it is. So this has to do with the construction. This street isn't going to be. It's going to be closed for around a week, maybe less than a week, because the building's modular. And so the only time the street's gonna be closed is when the crane is there to put the modules onto the, I mean, I don't believe, Hans, are you closing this? Are you gonna close the street for any other reason?
No,
Okay, there.
No, you know.
Okay, yeah, demolition, closure, here's the crane and its two positions. Half the building is from this one, half the building's from this side. And they're saying they're gonna do 6 modules a day, so that's 5 days.
And that's closed 24 hours a day, or is it just for?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
because there's see.
Yeah.
It's not a bug, it's a crane.
Yeah.
Or a big bug, it's big. So yeah, they're not moving that baby for, but it doesn't necessarily have to be here for the whole 5 days, because half the time it's gonna be here. But I don't know, so I'm not
We
gonna,
need full road closure 24/7, or would it be partial at evening hours for the
at the
residents?
evening hours, if, everyone felt safe, on the other side of the street, we
Mhm.
could, they could do half the street.
you're on the street, right?
Half the street. I think that would be safer, to be honest.
Okay.
But we have a crane expert, the ones who make modules, install modules, and they get the crane and they get all the permits. And we will ask him, we'll ask them to give us their best plan, limited street. It seems like it's at the property boundaries, so the other, beyond that, the street should be able to be open.
And
But
so
we'll,
DPW will weigh in on the placement of the crane and.
Yeah, and I mean, and I've asked the water department as well, because the crane structure, their lines are underneath there, so
Right.
I'm assuming that weight will be,
distributed.
yeah.
Yeah, and again, these are experts, but
And they may be already in contact with us, the
oh,
city,
okay,
so
they
I don't know.
might be,
Could be.
they might be, but we'll make sure that.
Okay.
And then this is laid over the other parts of the construction plan. With the temporary stabilized entrance. And we have talked to the neighbors on
Can
that
we just-
side.
Go back
Yeah.
one step.
Yeah,
real quick.
sure,
So
sure.
it might be good to have the company that's going to be doing the assembly, the crane company, have them submit a narrative just to describe, because you're gonna have these
Yeah.
units coming in
Yeah,
on tractor trailers.
yes, Right.
The frequency, they're gonna be
Yes.
obviously on Washington. I'm presuming they'll use Washington to come in, and maybe, how they're gonna circulate their
Right.
traffic flow with that. And then, so there's a lot of,
yeah, there are a lot of logistics. We already talked to them about, what they saying, it is a kind of constrained site in a residential neighborhood, and so they will not be storing any of the modules on site at all, or in the parking lot or anywhere. They will have them off site. They said what they usually do is they find a nearby parking lot or manufacturing facility, they rent it. And then they bring them one at a time or two at a time to be installed. So you never have anything more in the neighborhood or close to site that they're not actually going to be installing that day. Which there's still logistics, I understand, but that is a piece of information. And we have been talking to them about it, but we'll get your input. Yeah. I think, should we keep going? Because we have do we have this information on another drawing too?
We just have this, which,
Yeah, which is the same thing. Which is our, it's our staging. We have the proposed work area. How they're gonna have it's the same stuff. And here's the electric line's gonna come in. Go ahead. And I have the sediment fence around it, so you're not gonna get any sediment, because there's a erosion control and a sediment fence around the entire property for the duration of the work. So, that was on that previous, drawing. And then, this is, you probably saw it, it's the utility plan and the grading with the, permeable driveway and the grass units. In terms of, in this day and age, you really have to retain all your own water on site and not let your water go to your neighbors. So it's part of the way anything is engineered. The other thing and that's a very good point, by having these wells and having we have a lot more permeability on the site than there used to be. There's no blacktop, we have more planting. The water is going to move much more slowly into the city system. That's the whole point of doing it, right? And the grading is away from the side. The grading's all to here. So I think who knows? If we're lucky, we'll collect the neighbor's water too, because it actually is a low point, and be a kind of benefit to other properties in the street. But yeah, that's the idea. It's kind of trying to be cutting edge in terms of how we handle water management. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, your houses are over here, so you're the parking lot you look at now is going to be a lot nicer. The parking lot that you will be looking at will be nicer than the parking lot you're looking at now.
Plus, the equal fence there.
Especially when you have a huge cedar trees this far apart and a big fence. But yeah, that's what you're looking at now, actually. The building isn't going to go to that far, but I understand there's a cone of vision. So, but it's not going to be in your face.
And your snow storage?
Yes, good point. No snow storage. We're going to take it off site and in terms of a big storm. It could, there could be a discussion with the school. They have their plows. We have our plow, how they manage that. I know you don't want a bigger pile near your house. Right. Okay. So, but right now that's garbage and snow, get taken away by professionals.
Excuse me, so you're saying that the snow plan for the snow removal is to take it off site?
That's correct.
How's that gonna work?
They bring it up and they put it in the dumpster and they take it away.
No, a lot of places do that. They truck it away.
Yeah.
Okay, just a question.
Yeah. No, I know. Who thought? And here you've been shoveling your whole life.
The street that,
I know.
I'm sorry, the back entrance, exit, and then the front, are they all both ways, both way traffic?
Oh, that's a good question. Back and the front.
So the
This is-
emergency egress is not to be used unless there's a
Right.
fire truck. there.
Right,
Otherwise,
yeah, right.
two-way.
Right. So this is two-way, but then to go here is only fire trucks, only that way.
So it's not through traffic?
No,
Correct.
there's no
Okay.
through traffic at all. It's just when we were working with the fire chief and dealing with his concerns.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was really happy with the idea of not having to turn the fire truck around, of having the ability to leave that way. And I guess if it's a huge, awful fire to come in that way, but that's not the idea. It's not through traffic.
is any of the staging gonna be in, large vehicles that could be parked along the main street in front of?
You mean
Yeah, for like, I know that they're coming in as modulars, but I'm assuming there's gonna be crew and materials still. So the staging for the,
Right, so that's, I'm gonna throw that one to Rob, because when the modules come in, it's just the modules.
right,
Then afterwards, they do this thing called button up, where they do the siding and some of the roofing, and that's Rob's.
Yeah, I mean, they could park on site, on the actual site. There is a layout area in one of the drawings.
Yeah, that's on the other drawing. As the layout area, it's here.
Yeah.
Right, we're
And the
compacting the
cons- yeah.
soil, so it won't be good for commuters.
The construction,
Yeah.
sense will be where the proposed driveway is as well.
Yeah, oh, right, yeah.
What was the parking count? I'm sorry, what was the parking count for the position list? 15?
Yeah.
And it's modular, so I mean, the work after the modulars are set isn't like we're building it.
Right.
Up.
Anything else? I don't know.
Just the summary from the public comments, but I think it's, yeah.
I mean, unless,
This we already did.
yeah.
He had a question about lighting too, but that has yet to be,
Right, so here,
That's to be, that's still in the works.
the lighting, oh,
But there hasn't been a lighting plan submitted yet, right? I mean.
Yes, in the drawings that, it's not in this presentation, but in the
Yeah.
drawings that we have a photo
Yeah.
tree, compliant with the, code.
yeah, it's at all the exterior lighting has been designed in place. The interior, we don't have interior.
Yeah.
So, but we have that if you keep going.
It's not in the presentation, it's in the drawing set for the actual, the.
No, but we have.
Oh,
like,
the schedule, excuse me.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
schedule,
Yeah.
is-
Okay, yeah, so there's, if you keep going, we'll get to the lighting schedule, I think. Yeah, right there. So yeah, we've chosen all the fixtures. You can see they look, a lot of them, most of them all on the paths are down. I think they're like every 10 feet. But there's a plan. And we even have the how much light is cast across the site. There's-
So
uh,
it'll,
so
so
commentary.
it won't wash over.
Yeah. Yep, and then. I don't know,
I think that was really it.
that's really it. The other actually were, these were kind of for you too. Yeah. Yeah, and then this was your question before. So if you put, here you could see, right? If you put, well, not, you can't actually see because this is the top of the ramp. But if you put at the top of the ramp, and we could move that down a little, another doorway, you can, in a certain sense, or actually here, to change the ramp a little, but you can really think of this as inside, outside, and so that's the part. That's the part thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Do any board members have any other comments? If they want to ask any questions on any of the drawings or submissions that were presented as part of the package for this meeting? I know that our engineer is still reviewing them with regards to the asbestos abatement. I've asked the building safety to do a review of it as well. We have some staff comments that we'll forward to you and some additional questions from us. But asking board members now, if you have any questions or comments or concerns that you want to discuss, because we do have a couple of pieces of business and then we need to move on the agenda.
Any other questions?
Wayne against a lot of the questions.
Okay. All right.
I also wanted to mention that Andrew we didn't mention this. Andrew Harris has recused himself from the deliberation on this particular project, so put that on the record.
He works for the county.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I do have a resolution for us declaring lead agency for this project. I'm going to read that into record now. A resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board declaring lead agency for 21 Elizabeth Street and a portion of 67 Wall Street, which is section block and lot 56.124-1-12 and 56.124-1-1 in the secret process under 6 NYCRR Part 617. Whereas Meda Construction, the applicant, has submitted a completed short environmental assessment form to the City of Kingston Planning Board to demolish the existing building and construct a new 15-unit multiplex with supporting infrastructure and improvements, which is the action, And whereas the project is located at 67 Wall Street, SBL 56.124-1-12 and 56.124-1-1, Kingston, New York. And whereas the application was identified as an unlisted action of a seeker, however, due to the number of agencies involved in the review, the board and the applicants are choosing to initiate a coordinated review to seek the designation of lead agency. And whereas a determination of the significance of the action on the environment must be made in order to comply with New York State Environmental Conservation Law, the Seeker Act, and the regulations promulgated thereunder, which is the regulations, by the New York Department of Environmental Conservation. And whereas the planning board, by resolution adopted on October 20, 2025, declaring intent to seek lead agency and directed planning staff to circulate the request to all involved and interested agencies. And whereas on October 27th, 2025, notice was emailed/mailed to all identified, involved, and interested agencies with no objections were received, and the 30-day time period has expired. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1, that pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617, the City of Kingston Planning Board hereby affirms its role as lead agency in the secret environmental review of the action as described above. Section 2, that all identified involved agencies will be notified of the Kingston Planning Board decisions as lead agency. And Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect immediately. This time I'll make a motion that we adopt this resolution. Do I have a second? Second by Sage. All in favor? Wayne Platt is a yes. Vince Archer,
Yes.
Sage Newkirk,
Yes.
Kyra Grundig.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
She refer to county.
Okay. I might not share. Somewhere. All right, we're also gonna send this on to the county for their comments, okay? Yeah, we're gonna take.
April and December.
Yeah. So I make a motion that we table item number is this? 3, and also send it off to the Lieutenant Planning Board for their comments. Do we have a second? Second by Kyra, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, folks. See you soon. All right. It's coming. Come over here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Are we all ready? They can get us.
Yeah. How are you? Welcome back. Okay, moving on, item number 4 is 25 Frog Alley, site plan for a mixed residential development with 43 residential units and 2 live-work units, and major waiver for alternative building types. Section block and lot is 48.314-1-12. Secret determination, transect zone is T5N, Ward 2, GBC Kingston LLC is the applicant owner. I don't have anybody signed up to speak. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? This is the applicant owner. Okay.
We'll still come on up.
Come on up.
Really?
Look at the queen shutting this door and having you guys come up. So, okay. How are we doing tonight? Good. Good.
We didn't do it in Elizabeth Street. So it's still.
The latest submission. We can start with the architectural and see if there's questions.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is this right?
This is civil plan.
So let's start with this. Since
Okay.
you have it here. Run through this. So yes, so this is first the summit report on the civil engineering drawings. So obviously this is the context plan showing the new development in the context of Rogaland Drive and neighboring streets. The Madam Bakanaga, civil engineer, have been working with the city engineer to figure out a lot of what was going on already on the ground and create a plan for utilities, wastewater, and stormwater. So if you continue going, so well, this is just the first site plan showing proposed buildings and the different areas of the impervious surfaces throughout the development, as we presented previously. Less than 50% is fully impermeable of the surface of the site, which is actually less than what currently is. The asphalt is more of percent in the current configuration, and then obviously part of the anyways, the cases that we're introducing were not fully impermeable, but we use formable pavers with proper gaps in between and with the right layers on the other side. So that's a little bit more details on that on the landscape architect's drawings. Then continuing on the next slide, this is the existing conditions. So this is the survey of the site showing underground utilities, underground services already existing. And you can kind of see fairly well. This is the line of the asphalt, with this area being like a demolished building. So I'm using asphalt and something else. But yes, again, it's more than 50% of the site actually is currently asphalt. So the waste, the water or the stormwater system that is in place is capable of managing the existing rainwater. But obviously we're changing, we're absorbing the water in different ways. And we're controlling obviously everything that is collected with gutters and the different roofs of the development. And then continuing down, so here's finally sewer plan. So here is shown how we're planning to pick up all the systems. So basically every courtyard, all the main hallway is going to pick up the individual drains, individual wastewaters from each one of the units. And then everything is going to be collected at the street level. So again, this has been reviewed with the city engineer, and with our civil engineers. So we're confident that this can work with the existing sewer system of the city. We still owe you some sections to indicate a little better how the systems are working together. Currently, the pinch point is around here at the entrance. Well, we have the clearance between the two, the water line and the sewer line. We need to maintain 10 feet setback between the two. we're working with trying to understand if just moving them on different elevations can actually help us bring them a little closer. And if that doesn't work, we have the clearance for that. The only problem is the foundation of the buildings. So we're also considering using a different footing that just returns on the interior side and not a standard rectangular footing, so that we can actually go closer to the footing of the buildings. Drainage and grading plan. So this is a little, you really have to study this drawing to get a good understanding on that. There's several layers on it. So I'm not trying to just break it down rapidly, but like you can see these are the existing catch basin and drains that are on site, and then so we're showing both the existing and then what we're proposing to add. So again, like there's spaced evenly to pick up really rain everywhere. We have if you look at the roof plan and get an understanding of how the roofs are collecting the water, basically we have pitch roofs everywhere, gable roofs everywhere. So we're gonna have drains on the backside and also collect the water back there on the back of these line as well. So really we're trying to catch the water wherever we're picking up with the roof or obviously directly on the ground. And then continue again. So this is on Frog Alley. It's on Frog Alley, and it's a waiver that we haven't fully officially submitted yet. So we're presenting a proposed change. So currently there's one curb cut on Frog Alley. I think two. I think there's two. Yes, there's one on the north and one on the south. So we're proposing to move the one on the south in front of the entrance. We're proposing for the development. This is going to be used pretty much exclusively for access for emergency vehicles. And then we're proposing
About there was, we were gonna make that a mountable.
That's a mountable
curb.
curb,
It'll
that's
still
correct.
be a curb, but a mountable for equipment, so it
Yes.
won't look like a curb cut, so for vehicle use.
That's correct. And the idea as well is to install one or two bollards at this entrance as well to even more clearly state that that's not an entrance for the public that people can drive and park in the public square there. And then the second curb cut is again also for vehicular access only for emergency vehicles on the north end. And then these curb cut is going to also be divided in two parts with the mountable curb in the first part, right in front of this laneway, and then a regular curb cut for access for trash collection on the north end of the site. So we're pretty much adding I think it's about 20 foot of curb cut overall, and then shifting the existing one. And again, the one that we're adding is mountable, so it's not really full curb cut. Details down there. And then this is part of the sediment control. This is something that we haven't talked fully with the engineer about this, so we need to get a better understanding ourselves of part of this that goes together with obviously the staging of the construction as well. So this part for the soil erosion, sediment control, and also the staging of the construction, since we were still talking with Baxter to really get a better understanding and paint the overall picture. So we can talk a little bit about this. Currently, this is like pretty much straightforward and existing strategies to use as much as possible the sediment going into Frog Alley in particular. But this also needs to be related with the staging of the construction. That's why we're still talking with the builder about. And these are all standard details for the different connections. So maybe the only thing worth mentioning is the that also we still owe you more architectural details for that, but the trash enclosure, which is going to be a brick wall, 8 foot tall brick wall, with space for 2 trash containers and cubic yard, and then 2 smaller from the road. And we'll be talking with waste management for that. They haven't officially approved the plan, but they've reviewed everything and they okayed the location and the strategy to pick up the trash. Architectural drawings. So in here we try to present obviously all the zoning parameters required by the T5N transit and what we have on our site. So all the numbers are listed in that schedule at the bottom right. We also indicated dimensions for the street elevation, indicate all the required all the entrances, all the different floor plans, different height of the different floors, and up here you have a legend also how we have identified the buildings. I don't know why it doesn't appear properly, but like considering how these are going to get built and what is a building, we define basically these 5 different buildings throughout the development. So we have the units, each individual attached component, townhome basically, or row house, and then the building. So each building is an individual entity that has basically a shared foundation, and utilities are shared throughout the development. So those are in a different manner. And we're starting to talk with both the fire department and also with the USPS about how we label things so that we can have everybody have a shared understanding of where you are, where unit 5N or 3X or whatever that is. So we're still trying to figure out, working on it. So the architectural floor plans, nothing new here. I hope in one plan, I believe we added the indication of that, but there was a question about utilities, shared utilities on utility spaces on the site. So we have 2 rooms. So this is the main room. It's on the entrance. It has access on both sides, but especially on Frog Alley through a stoop. Reminder to everyone, there's stoops everywhere because this needs to be above the floodplain elevation of 155. So the accessible area is really on the south end, and everything else is raised up for that reason. So this is the mail room. It's designed according to the Postmaster standards, but we haven't showed it yet to USPS, so we don't have their approval. But we're following all the standards, and there's plenty of additional space for packages and so on the north end of that space. There's 43 units, and that's plenty of space for that for the regular mail. And then this other room here, this is the electrical meter room. So this one as well. This is actually much bigger, but still very packed just because of fire clearances, etc., etc. And we have a preliminary layout of this, also not presented full in detail at this point. We're working with our mechanical engineer to complete that. But again, designed to meet all the standard. It is sprinkled. It has 2 egress exits on both sides, outswing doors, unlike all the other doors. So it's designed with that. And then obviously we have the trash collection. It's a public space.
So the one thing to note here, which you guys probably get a sense of looking at the plan, is that we didn't want these to feel like utilitarian harsh structures. They look like any of the other townhomes. So the mailroom could, in fact, there is housing above it, but the ground floor looks like it could be a residence. And same with the utility or the electrical room. It looks the same exact way as the other units, which was important to us. It didn't have just a shed somewhere on the side of the property. You would know it's sort of a sleight of hand that we think people will appreciate.
Second floor and 3rd floor. Each units are level, and then the roof plan here. So again, you can see the pitch of the roofs and how we're collecting water on different sides. This is just indicating the elevations of different levels, both in the courtyard and interior of the spaces. This is zoom in onto the trash collection area and the transformer. So the transformer is on Frog Alley. No, this is not fantastic solution, but it's really unfortunately because access, this was really the location where we could place it, or risk of losing because we have to lose a lot of units to the access. Central Hudson wants to have a truck parked in front of it, both to install it and to the maintenance. So a street access was really like important for that, or have a major laneway to get access to that. We've been talking with Central Hudson about the location. Also, we're getting the power actually from the transformers that they have along Trent Drive. So we're gonna run the power through in between the buildings on the northwest, and then down this laneway, and then connect to this. And so we have the space, we have the clearances to run their service underground. And again, this initially were proposed to put it immediately next to them because they have access on their end. They said they didn't know what was going to happen with their site. So it wasn't a preferred location for them. And so we moved it onto this side where we have the clearances all around. We have by locating in here, we have enough space to run with the truck. These are front loaded, so pick up the trash and empty it, and then run around with the recyclable and bring it again in front of where the trash is going to pick it up. There's enough clearance for the fire emergency truck also to come in, and we have 4 bollards on the side to protect it from vehicles bumping into that. We still have an opportunity of doing some planting or something to hide this new box that is right on Frog Alley. It's no one's favorite solution, I think, and it's a very utilitarian object, and unfortunately we need to have there. We have tried to find other solutions with Central Hudson, but we can put it in the sky or the ground, so I think that's the good. Fire safety. So this was a plan reviewed with the fire chief.
These, I sent
I showed you, yes.
the
Thank you.
note with all the sheets, so hopefully he'll be looking at them,
Yeah. So
everything.
yeah, we had a meeting obviously to discuss these things, and we tried to address everything that was indicated there, indicating all the clearances. We work with the mechanical engineer to provide the sprinkler specifications. So that's also added in here, which buildings to sprinkle, what kind of systems are installed. So we try to provide as much information as we can have at this point in the process. And then finally, landscape design. So in this case, in the plans, we try to address the initial comments from the planning board. So change the species of trees and planting to use what the city has pre-approved. We indicate more details. There's going to be some a number of bike racks and sheds for bike storage. We can indicate also what materials we're going to use. So we're going to use these concrete pavers again with open gaps in between to allow some water drainage. This decomposed granite, which is basically lighter colored gravel in some of the areas throughout, and then obviously grass on the other areas. And then the planting, there's also information about the planters that we're planning to install throughout the public spaces and the plants that they're going to go into these planters. We also have rough information about some of these public movable furniture. Everything is lightweight, so it can be moved around, and so the fire access is still guaranteed. So it's no problem. Still, planning is. I know we need to provide photographic the light pollution analysis, and that's the work in progress. So we're gonna submit officially that one. Want to see if there's more comments on that. And then the other comment that I wanted to address here is for what concerns the outdoor condensers for our heat pump system. So basically, every unit is independent, obviously, and they're going to have between actually 1 and 3, depending on the size of the unit, 1 and 3 mini split, wall-mounted mini splits. So we're going to have condensers for this. These type of units here that we can actually fit all the condensers under the stairs. The stairs are going to be like open treads, relatively transparent, and everything's going to be under those and barely invisible to anyone who walks around the site or sees the development. And then as much as possible, we try to hide everything in the back, so as to limit.
Vision, so direct feed into the buildings, and so you're not gonna have line sets
Yes,
running.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. And we're gonna have the structure of this is all gonna be 2x6 with exterior insulation or insulated sheet rather.
Okay.
And so we're gonna have enough space in our walls to actually run the lines within the walls. So yes, we're not gonna fix it. Yeah, so they're only getting in there, and then they're also shown in the plans in the elevations here. Light, you can see them. And obviously in the elevation, so these are all the elevations showing different elevation of the buildings from the courtyards, from the laneways, etc. We also indicated the materials. So if you go to the last, I think it is last. These are sections. This is also showing like the fronts of the buildings on Frog Alley. So again, also the setback required by the zoning requirements. So showing both the height, the distance from the sidewalk, and the setback of the building from the sidewalk itself.
That's the last sheet.
That's the last one. Was there?
Find it is.
Am I missing one? What, can we go up though?
Oh, okay. I'm not seeing one.
Photos.
Are you thinking about the civil set, maybe?
Thinking about the material, maybe it's this.
That was the revision 2.
Yeah, was there one slide with the materials on the exterior? I think we submitted that too. Maybe we can. So we have a legend of all the materials in the elevations. What was this slide with that material? But anyway, for what concerns the materials on the buildings themselves, we're gonna have the siding. We're gonna have heavy cement siding with pretty wide boards. We actually have a nice picture of a building on Front Street that really matches what the design intent we have here. And then the bases of the buildings, again, all the buildings have ground floor that's raised to avoid the floodplain. We're gonna have thin brick that are gonna be painted. With rubber paint that allows transpiration, etc. We're painted basically to match the color of the siding above, so they're going to look consistent in color and tone. And we haven't picked the exact color yet, but it's going to be an off-white for most of the buildings with a darker color, maybe a green, like showing some of the renderings on the buildings on the north side of the development. And then likely a different color for the public, more public spaces, so the two live work units, the work part of those units are going to have a different storefront and a different color to really highlight the different functions. It's fine, we don't have it. It's just a legend indicating what the codes were.
So Ashley misspoke about how the public hearing was going to go for this. I asked if anybody wanted to speak on this, but we wanted to have the presentation first. We want to do questions now and then have the public comment.
I noticed this
Yeah.
in advance, so if there's anybody from the public that wants to speak on this project, we did get one comment from Friends of Historic Kingston who have an interest in the property across the street. They've just asked the board to extend the public hearing. Their board doesn't meet till tomorrow evening, and their board wants to submit a comment. So they want us to keep the public hearing open. So I don't have any objection to that at this
I think
point.
that's a
There's
good idea.
more material to come in, and we have our city engineer and other agencies in the city are reviewing the plans and the documents that have been submitted. So we'll get that feedback and get everything posted so that we'll have a complete package for January.
Yeah.
So the archaeological survey, we talk about that again.
Yeah, good.
Where are we with that? I know we've got submission here with some findings, or
Yeah, so we
exclusions or what have you.
we conducted the first study, and then there was a suggestion that we go through and take some samples across the site as opposed to having continual supervision as we go through construction. And I think I sent a email over just to the about that. But was waiting for clearance there, and then we're happy to get the second part started. If that
So that's an ongoing process then, right?
we would take samples, probably not now. If we can mobilize them in the next 2 weeks, great. But they just want to dig some pits and some holes and just see if there are any significant findings, and then depending on what those are, we will go from there.
Okay.
And Friends of Historic Kingston, that's one of their concerns.
Right, and we'll get you any comments there.
Yeah.
Yes, we've already started the archaeological process, and it's something that we're certainly mindful of. So whatever the comments are.
Okay. Anybody have any questions from the board?
I have a question. We also submitted a revised, yes.
Yes.
Waiver with different,
Yes, we pulled that, based on the board's discussion last month, they've revised, the waiver request, and they've pretty much addressed most of the comments. I believe they're all addressed. If you everybody have a chance to review the new form, the waiver submission that was provided online? We looked at, I looked at it at staff level. I don't have any issue with it. They've addressed the comment about requiring buildings that front on streets. Actually, there are the changes that were made. They've referenced the Dutch heritage. That was something that I believe, Kyrie, you brought up as far as what the typology is all about. They've talked about the footprint based on the transect underneath. Height is defined by the transect underneath that's underlying it. Building width is defined now. The maximum number of units is defined, and the frontage. So, I mean, they put in everything. Kylie, you got to go to the next page. This kind of shows, this is following the format of the code for each building type. So they put in a rendering to try and identify what the theme is.
that's built.
This is
Actual picture.
This is the precedent for the project. This is, I believe, is in Bruges.
Yes.
This is the Moulinard. Yeah, it's, so we're basically taking the typology and massing of these historic Godspeeds and Hoffias and just applying that to this.
Right.
Well, I think you've certainly, we've had applicants come before us for other projects. It's just like, it's a cookie cutter thing, and we recognize that. But I think you folks have put a lot of thought into how your site has developed, and, the pictures you show in Europe of similar setup. You put a lot of thought into this, so I'm inclined to go along with granting that waiver.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So does the board have any more questions with this proposed new typology? It would just be for this site. That was one thing I did identify in the notes, is that your cover letter talks about it going into the form-based code. It won't go into the form-based code as a new building type.
Yeah.
That's an action that the Common Council would take separately.
Mhm.
This board is only looking at it for this site alone at this point.
Okay.
Okay?
I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We hope to do justice to the plans right now, and we have wonderful designers who are working to make that happen, and great builders.
In the other.
Last
Okay.
Planning board.
And the planning board, thank you.
So if there are no other questions, I do have a resolution But do you have anything else?
No, I mean, we'll send our notes
Yeah.
to them. They're working on all purposes.
So the resolution is to declare lead agency for this project. Resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board declaring lead agency for number 25 Frog Alley, SBL 56.124-1-12 in the secret process under 6 NYCRR Part 617. Whereas GBC Kingston LLC, the applicant, has submitted a completed short environmental assessment form to the City of Kingston Planning Board to construct a mixed residential development, which is the action. And whereas the project is located at 25 Frog Alley, SBL 56.124-1-12 in Kingston, New York. And whereas the application was identified as an unlisted action under seeker, however, due to the number of agencies involved in the review, the board and the applicants are choosing to initiate a coordinated review and seek the designation of lead agency. And whereas a determination of the significance of the action on the environment must be made in order to comply with the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, which is the Seeker Act, and the regulations promulgated thereunder, in parentheses, the regulations by the New York Department of Environmental Conservation. And whereas the planning board, by resolution adopted on October 20th, 2025, declaring intent to seek lead agency and directed planning staff to circulate the request to all involved and interested agencies. And whereas on October 23rd, 2025, notice was emailed/mailed to all identified involved and interested agencies with no objections were received, and the 30-day time period has expired. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1, that pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617, the City of Kingston Planning Board hereby affirms its role as lead agency in the seeker environmental review of the action as described above. Section 2, that all identified involved agencies will be notified of the Kingston Planning Board decisions as lead agency. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect immediately. At this time, I'll make a motion that we adopt this resolution. Do I have a second? Second by Kyra. All in favor, Wayne Platt is a yes. Vince Archer,
Yes.
Sage Newkirk,
Yes.
Kyra Grundy,
Yes.
Andrew Harris.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Okay, so we're going to keep the public hearing open, right? And part of the tabling here, we also this mechanically. Anything else in there?
No, we're just gonna work with the applicant.
It's okay. So at this time, I'll make a motion that we table item number 4, referring this to the county planning board. And what else you got on that?
Games, the public hearing open.
Yep.
We're gonna go with them.
Okay. That is a motion. Do I have a second on that? Second by C. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Awesome.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Very happy holidays.
You too.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Stay warm. Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those guys working my car.
I think it's. Thank you, guys. All right. Item 5, new business. 35 Broome Avenue, site plan amendment to convert community flex space in a mixed-use building into a commercial light industrial, and an artisanal manufacturing bakery. Section block lot is 48.82-1-7.200. Secret determination, transect zone is T5F, Ward 5, Katarina Cowden, which is the Little Rye Bakehouse, is the applicant. MHB BF Developer LLC is the owner. Hi.
Well,
Introduce, state your names for the record, please.
Danny Sorokin with MHB Development.
Katarina Cowden, Little Rybaka.
Okay. All right, so construction's going really well, there, right?
Yes.
And now we want to make a modification to what was, I gotta sign this for.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, so we have it's about 1,400 square foot, community flex space, and got a brick building in that 35 room. Which is, this is a picture of it right now. The community flex space, the resident lounge, it's always intended to be for the new building, which is the 100-unit building. We originally thought it would kind of be better in the old adaptive reuse, but after, working through like our operating plan, we really thought it'd make a lot more sense to have it within the building, with all the apartments in it. So on that building, we have 3,000 square feet of commercial along Cornell that we divided into 3 commercial units. We would like to kind of move that resident lounge onto Cornell, with people there, give them coffee all day, work from home. And then in the back, sorry for moving around so quick. I was just giving this is perfect. This is perfect for now. So that's Cornell along the front over there. That's Bruin, which is the dead end. And then in the back over here is a brick barrel factory, adaptive reuse. So where we have the residential lounge, about the same size, we're moving the resident lounge into the new building for one of the commercial spaces. And then where we have the resident lounge, we now want to make a commercial bakery, Little Red Bakehouse, which, I guess, gotta give
The
you.
space you're moving into, you're going from a 1,400 square foot to 1,000 square foot. So
Yeah.
you don't feel that that's an impact as an amenity to the overall project, cutting it by a third?
I don't think it's gonna be too huge of a difference where there's already a bunch of space in there. We're gonna be able to get all the furniture that we had and get it the same amount of space. Oh, yeah, much.
I mean, I can talk about my space too. So I have a small retail space on Broadway midtown over here. I've grown I started in Cubby's, the bar next door, renting their kitchen while I built my business. Started very small, met with Kingston Farmers Market, a bunch of other farmers markets. And over the past, 4 years, I've been doing this. I've bounced around renting kitchens all over the Hudson Valley, from other bakers and other bakeries, shared spaces. And this was the first opportunity where I could be right around the corner from my shop, kitchen space, that I could, complete some of my dreams of opening to the public, to host pie making classes, different classes within our other food members in my community at the farmers markets and just, generally in the Kingston community. So this will be the first time I have my own kitchen space. It's super low impact, I'll say. I have 3 part-time employees plus myself. Right now I rent from underneath Cheese Louise on 28, which I also share with other kitchens. Part of why I need a bigger space is so small that I can't even work there with my staff when my staff's there. So I've been working nights. I have an 18-month-old, so it's really complicated. But it'll be 3 bakers plus me at any given time. We don't even all work together. Just in terms of size.
What hours would you be operating?
So usually we're there, I would say, Tuesdays through Sundays from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then when we do start teaching classes, those would be, 2-hour classes and after school classes potentially. I have some child care friends who are interested in doing after school classes as well. So nothing, in the lease, we said nothing after 8 p.m. So classes would maybe be 6 to 8 if they ever went later. But operating hours for my actual bakers never goes past 4 or 5 o'clock.
But no retail.
No, it would be, the classes would be like, what would be allowing the public in, and as of now, it would just be, production, we do wholesale, farmers markets and shop, not that way.
And mechanicals, venting, I know.
So I only do high pastry, I only use electric oven, so, that, I've talked to Corey through DOH and in a lot of places I've worked before, but, it's with an electric oven, you don't need any ventilation because, and especially without any grease laden vapors, which we don't use because we don't have any, like fryers or any cooking like that going on.
Like how big is this oven?
It's a double convection, so it's like, it's probably this big, and then they're just like 2 stacks on top of one another.
And it's just one?
One
unit?
stack, like that.
That's, yeah.
We were required to have it with our convection.
You're-
If it's gas.
No, ours is electric.
Oh, really?
And that was a discrepancy I found 2 years ago between Department of Health and building. I wasn't told that I needed that through the Department of Health. It was a building department that required it, and they did it when they did it at background. Yeah, with recent inspections, they hadn't done it with like, it's for facility, that just might come up,
Okay.
and I,
Somebody
Yeah,
talk about
and there's
this
something I
example.
know the cost of it, so but talk the building. If you're gonna go in, assuming you're not gonna need a hood at all, I would double check.
I called Corey and then I called the fire department too. I don't know that I talked to the fire department though. And
It's
they said
building-
it's fine, too.
Building safety.
It's building safety.
Yeah. So
You haven't spoken to them at all about that, or?
I don't think so. I spoke to Corey at DOH who, deals with it all the time, and he told me that's like the specifics behind it.
Because, I think that might be your first step to maybe do that, to see what you're gonna need as far as exhaust or.
Where the building's we're like relatively new, so we're well set up to get the ventilation to that space pretty easily if we have to. There's actually like the.
And this leads me into
Ventilation
my,
right above
Well,
that
the
corner.
building is a historic building too, so any perforation of that structure would have to be reviewed by the HLPC locally, and because it may require ship out review.
Yeah, I'm hopefully if we have to do that, we could maybe go like there through that storage, it goes sort of straight up through like laundry room and right out the ceiling. So it's actually pretty well set up to do that without a lot of additional impact and not going up for anything like that.
so you're gonna jump around a little bit here. So you're looking to do your baking here, but still having the brick and mortar on Broadway to.
Yeah, that's
Retail part?
literally just retail, yeah, there's no
Okay.
baking going on there.
Okay, so you're still keeping that spot over there
Yes.
for retail?
Yes.
Okay. And part of the, if there is a need for, aside from SHPO or landmarks getting involved, we do have residents over there that will, they're gonna be in there, right? So we wanna make sure that there's no odors that are gonna be wafting over into into your buildings or any noise. How's the noise? I don't even know what kind of noise is generated from this, so.
Noise
you would
isn't an
know.
issue, and we're there at 4
Okay.
in the morning,
Okay,
7 days a week.
all right, so
And there's residents
and I
upstairs.
look to you for this, guidance on that.
That's never been an issue
Okay.
for us. I would say the only thing that, and it's not even an issue, it's just something that's reality. She's gonna be baking there and they're gonna be delivering for products there. So deliveries, it comes on big trucks. And so as long as even parking isn't really an issue. It's such a walkable area. I think people would really like it there. But delivery trucks are gonna come through.
Yeah, I get one delivery a week from Baldor, which is a box truck, and they right now they come in and out from behind Cheese Louise, takes maybe 5 minutes, you know,
So how would the delivery work at this site? Because there's.
I think you said like
Right
down
there.
at the very, if they went down to the end of the
Yeah, there's a,
street there.
they can stay on Broome. There's usually a lot of
So-
places to stay. And then there's just a direct walkway kind of across that commercial tendency, which is now a salon with the ramp. It's, they use a hand truck. It's pretty straightforward.
So they'll deliver, and what about raw product going out? Would you do the same thing, park on?
I could, I mean, right now, it's just me with my Subaru loading it up with a couple loads of pie boxes.
You're gonna grow though. Not that that
I
would
mean,
be an
that's
issue.
not
That would
the
be
goal.
with the lower Broadway all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something that just. It works and we make it work. But if you're not expecting, you know,
I mean, I drop off at my shop on Broadway right in
Yeah.
town every.
You figure it
every
out.
weekend. You just, you know.
but when you increase your volume, which you will, this will definitely grow your business. You know, those are all really good problems to have.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the goal with this is not to grow my output as it is to grow, like having a community. And
Yeah.
having baking classes and having, you know, more of an access point for things like that like, you know, create a more food centric environment, like,
Yeah.
that can bring people together as opposed to me really worried, you know, I'm not like as worried about
Production.
and becoming a bigger brand or anything. It's the community aspect of me.
What about signage?
I don't,
You.
I wasn't planning
any-
planning anything, you know, probably just like sticker on the window kind of
We're,
thing.
we're pretty limited because of the SHPO approvals too. So we might have something, but it'll be a follow-up.
And this won't just be open for the public to walk into. People are coming in there, they'll have scheduled classes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
And on the odors, it's not necessarily the worst, smelling thing to have.
No, and I was gonna say that it's probably, unless you're burning something accidentally, it's probably.
You could go ask the liquor store next to Twins Louise and they'll tell you they smell pine.
We might just start selling more. basically.
So where are we right, Sue?
Well, yeah, you're working with engineering on pre-treatment issue. That would be a condition too. I don't know if that's gonna,
I'm sorry, with what, engineering with what?
and because it's a commercial bakery, there's a pre-treatment program in the city of Kingston, for the sanitary sewage. So I know the forms were sent to you and I
Yeah.
believe you're working with Keith in that department, to get that completed. So that would be something. You know, I'd like to get the building department's take on this to find out, you know, what the requirements are going to be, for the space. I am a little bit, you know, on the fence about it, you know, moving the, community space, which was supposed to be flex space for not only, you know, using, you know, your computers and having coffee, but a space for community events and things to happen too. Moving it to Cornell Street, which is a really was set up to be a retail space and not, you know, set aside for community space. It's a smaller space. I'm not, you know, where it's located now, there's an outdoor patio, there's, you know, the amenities are there for more interactive, I think, community activities. And it's, you know, it's interior, it's not on a street front, so has a little bit of privacy there, you know, that kind of thing. I'm curious why the space on Cornell, which is a little bit smaller, a third smaller, wouldn't be suitable for this activity, you know, going in there versus on the interior.
Well, I mean, I guess it's two. The main thing is, I guess, categorization ready to move and take the space. So that building's not going to be completed for another several months, and we kind of want to make it work. But just from like more of the planning perspective, community space you're talking about, we have been showing the commercial space along Cornell. There is you know, we want to make that a walkable street. There is still a concern about parking. There's no parking on Cornell. They would kind of have to go to either all the way to Smith or all the way to Broome, whereas the spots back there do have a lot of parking, so it's a little bit more desirable for retail despite the visibility. And on top of that, having a clean safe building is a pretty big benefit, and we think it'll do a lot to actually activate the street. There will be people, on their laptops during the day, working from home, while a little coffee set up. There'll be people there. They'll be walking around to those other retail spots over there, and I know you want to draw outside people, but that'll also bring more action to the street. Walking down the street, you'll see a bunch of people in a building. It'll make it kind of feel more open.
Sometimes also too, since you're gonna be going to the building department, ask them also too, probably about the size or capacity for a grease trap. Because I had some discrepancies with that too. And this is all recent, and it was all during a lot of the changes. And I think that there may just be some different requirements when it comes to food safety and handling, and then building safety and regulations on the grease trap size.
Is this all part of the pre-treatments? Only two, or is it?
No, she's talking about building code issues.
If you're gonna call and ask, just because it's another large expense, which those kinds of surprises are sometimes, they'll make or break. You'd rather know now.
We've had some conversations with them about the other building for heavier, stove cooking, and I didn't get a sense that the bakery thought a lot of stovetop cooking, a lot of frying is what got.
It's butter, it's sugar, it's butter is grease, and it goes in the air.
Yeah.
For anywhere I've worked where it's, there's no frying, there's no, just straight bakery. We've had the above ground ones that just basically exist as a box, right next to your 3-bay sink, and it collects the grease there. You can clean it yourself, or they just have a company that comes in.
That's
it right now.
Same thing as a grease trap.
No, it is a grease trap.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a smaller, and it's $500. It's nothing crazy, but that's at least in anywhere I've worked, because I've worked in restaurant kitchens that do have fryers and stuff, but I'm saying at least in the bakery capacities I've worked in that have things like that, it's less, it's not as huge of an expense as a whole underground system or anything.
So here's where I am. I'm glad that we have somebody who has a storefront in Kingston, is wanting to stay in Kingston to do this kind of work. I do hear you about the reduction in size of the community space. So trying to balance out those two components, but I also am wanting to hear, when you go to building safety, what they're going to tell you need to have in there, and how that affects any applications with changes with SHPO or HLPC. So how do we tie all, and this is how I don't know how everybody else feels on the board, but how do we tie all this thing into where we go from here? Does it have to, we have them come back for another? Do we table this, or is this, if we do decide to
Well, I
move
mean,
forward, is
What
this
the building
something?
safety division says could be, could be a game changer or
Yeah.
not. I don't know. That is something I really want you to, follow up with. And it's, as Kyra said, there could be some additional requirements that you're not aware of that are going to be needed for your equipment, the building modifications. And that's, there's something to be said about that.
And I don't want to delay what your plans are or anything like that, but this is a step that I think needs to happen first. I'd be glad to, if we do decide to table, I'd be glad to have you folks come back and give us an update on what you found with building safety and how that affects the HLPC. I'm inclined to move forward with it, but I still have those questions in my mind. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it.
I agree. I think that the staffing at the building department is pretty vast. Like there's a lot of people in that building. And so I have experience, like you probably already have too. You can go in and ask a question and you're going to talk to one person. You can go and look at something online. I would maybe just recommend like creating like an email thread so that you have a singular person that you know who you're getting the information from, because the person that comes out to do the final inspection or preliminary inspection could be totally different. And that's honestly something that I've experienced. And so I just wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of surprise. It better be to learn now than later.
I mean, do we need to table it or can we vote on it with the condition, you know, if does not need to be a change to the building? And what we voted on goes, and then if there does, it has to come back here.
So that was kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Or like, we'll pay for that.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm very. That inflation, we can get it straight up and so it's not gonna be a shit up, but we will definitely have those conversations.
One into that, obviously. The other question that the Alderwoman was talking about was the chillers, you know, with the so you're not putting any kind of a indoor
Like a walk-in.
refrigeration. There's no
Yeah,
walk-in,
no,
it's just
I don't, I have a like
like a-
reach in, so it's basically like your home refrigerator, but just like a bigger.
Okay.
But a yeah, I mean, I don't have a need for a walk-in right now, you know, that's something that maybe down the line, but I would obviously, you know, process, that would be a long time. But right now it's walk-in.
And her concern was based on the noise that's generated.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, if we can do this with, you know, move it along with conditions that if,
Yeah, I think it'll help her speed along the process too. Sorry. No, I just change, it does change, some people change sometimes and just like, it's better to just, I don't know.
No, you're right.
Be
Have
ahead
it
of it.
on one email grid too, so you can be like, don't give us this.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And that has made it so much easier,
Totally.
because you get excited, if you just call with a quick question and somebody's like, oh, sure, that's not a problem.
I
And
had
then
an
you
email from Corey.
Every-
He was like,
yeah.
quote this, if I didn't talk to them, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they're both, you know, will get you the information that you need, but
Mhm.
they just don't, like, there's two different lanes there. Building safety and then Department of Health, you know?
So I would have, it would be, the conditions would be no outward modifications to the building. That's no mechanicals outside, no venting to the outside. Good building safety division review of all of the equipment to determine if there would be any need for venting or other accommodation. As far as fire separation, et cetera. That all deliveries and product will be done from a Bruin Avenue parking perspective. There's no signage planned at this time. Hours are 6 to 6 with classes running possibly 6 to 8. I didn't get the days in there.
did you say Tuesday,
Tuesday
Sunday?
through Sunday, yeah.
Day is Sunday.
And you said no retail? There's no retail on this? Was that a part of your,
I didn't, but I'll put it in there.
that was what you said, when you
Yeah.
retail?
It may, you know, it may be something we go back to, like, once the apartments come up and stuff, if there's a need for it, but I don't foresee. Classes are, right.
We'll see you then.
Yeah.
Okay, so what the conditions, and wait, any board policies?
Oh, yeah, 6, 10, 11, 19, 23, and 24.
Okay, so what Sue has illustrated here, with the conditions and the board policies. Oh.
Sue, is another condition that the community space is being removed.
All right, so under seeker, this is a type 2 action, so no further review of the board is required. And again, as Sue has illustrated the board policies and conditions, I'll formulate that into a motion to approve item number 5.
Oh, I need to add in the engineering retreatment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, so that is a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Andrew. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Good luck. Okay. Okay, under old business, item number 6 is 21 Bluestone Court, subdivision of the lands of SSLI Holdings LLC and creation of a walkable neighborhood with a minor waiver for a dead-end street. Secret determination, section block and lot is 56.88-4-7. Secret determination, transect zone SD-MF. Large sign standards, Ward 1, SSLI Holdings LLC is the applicant owner.
Good evening.
Oh, there? Stephanie here?
He was in the laws and rules and it's.
Okay. Luke Interante is here. Welcome.
Okay, first, I just want to ask board members, public hearing was closed last month. There were several additional comments that had been, received and, submitted by our Friday deadline of 2. They were posted on the website. Has everybody had a chance to review and go through all of those comments?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Kyla, can you pull up the drawing set? Sure. Okay. One question that had come in was with regards to the sidewalk extension, of the property out to Lucas Avenue, how that, when it got to Lucas, how it would be treated. I know we've discussed it. I also asked engineering to take a look at that, to see how, what would happen when it gets to Lucas Avenue. And they conferred with the Department of Public Works, and what they gave back to me was, they're gonna wanna see at the end there, like the best I can describe it is a T shape. So that your sidewalk will come out, it won't go actually out to the street, it would stop where a normal sidewalk would stop at a 3-foot.
Just the
hammerhead. And then it would connect to on either side to the property. So that was what came back on that.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah. It's the resolution.
All right. Which one do we do first?
The seeker does have to go first, but I mean, I know that there have been, the board has some drafted resolutions that were, circulated. They've been, modified, just as recently as this afternoon in consultation with our corporation council. We need to talk about the, recreation fee, how that is going to be assessed. Is in the resolution, but it should also be part of the discussion, so I think we can start the discussion there. Know that there was a lot of concern about, the building types and densities. I will say that those are in conformance with the form-based code as it is, written. And those were choices that were made by the developer. We've discussed and asked for potential changes to those, and they want to stay with what they are looking at in terms of the duplexes and small multiplex, and the number. It's understood that should a property be sold to another individual, and they want to change the building type, that will have to come back to the planning. So in the adoption of a walkable neighborhood plan, you not only are approving the subdivision, you are approving the type of building construction that will be required on every single property. If that is to change, the property owner purchases a duplex property and wants to make it a single detached home, they have to come back to the planning board and ask to amend the walkable neighborhood plan. If they purchase a duplex and want to ask for another building type of an increased density, same thing. They need to come back to the planning board. Anything that is 3 units or less will go strictly through a building department review process. If it goes to a 4-unit type of construction, which a small multiplex can, that will come back to the planning board for a site plan as you look at every other fourplex and more in the city of Kingston. So those are some points I wanted to make as well to you, so you fully understand what will be going forward. In the calculation on the rec fee, the way we have come at staff level, and this has involved our corporate counsel as well, the way we've determined how to assess the rec fee. Find it in the resolution here.
And we should preface this by saying you and staff and Cliff Council were envisioning all different types of combinations of what could go into these buildings, right?
Right.
The possibility of those, and
The board can review this. It is section 4 in the resolution of the WAMP. We looked at the number of the building lots with 9 multiplex and 6 duplex. Would equate to a minimum of 39 units. And that's the minimum. So we took that 39 and then we exempted by law the first 7 units are fully exempt with any project. And that leaves 32 units, assessing those at the full $3,000 per unit would be a payment in lieu of parkland assessment of $96,000. This no longer gets referred to Parks and Rec. It is a straight fee. It used to be one that it was up and up to amount. New legislation was passed by the Common Council that just assesses the full fee. There's no variation on if you're providing any amenity or not. So there's no referral to Parks and Rec any longer. Any comment on that? Do you want to talk about options, other options? Do you think that that's fair? Do you think we should be doing something different? I mean,
No, like I said, you think there was a lot of thought put into that, or how you arrived at that figure. I am comfortable with that, how you arrived at that based on the minimum amount of units that are gonna be there right now.
That's a one-time fee.
it's a one-time fee.
Everybody else is good with that?
Vince? This project will have an HOA. They have initiated a review, the common council. They've started the conversation, there, and that would be, for ultimately requesting the city to take over the street and the sanitary sewer system. It's a separate discussion that's also been initiated with the water department to take over the full water supply system that is extended to this project. The HOA has always been and will be the sole owner of the stormwater system, as well as the on-site management for and care of the sidewalks and the public space, the center median, so to speak, that's here. But the HOA will have to be initially structured so that all of that infrastructure will be the assumed responsibility of the HOA until it's fully constructed. And then then the city would be making the final decision as to whether or not they accept the street and the sanitary, doing the water department, and then the HOA will need to get amended to remove those. But initially, they will be required to take on ownership of everything. All right. We have a lot of conditions in the documents. I don't know if anybody has any questions, or want to discuss the project any further. Do you have any questions for the developer?
We've arrived at a performance bonding too.
We have not, we don't have the final number on the performance bond, which will be required for all of the public infrastructure and landscaping and lighting. And the way we have put it in here in the resolution is that the detailed cost estimate will need to be submitted for staff and review and approval of the city engineer. The number that is approved by the city engineer will have a 10% contingency tagged onto that, which is standard protocol for us. And then that performance bond will need to be submitted in a form that's satisfactory to staff and corporation council before any permits are issued on the projects. So that's the way we've structured it. They can apply for periodic reductions like any other developer does with their project, and the final lease of the bond would not happen until we get certified as-built plans.
Will we vote on whether or not to close out the public hearing aspect of this project?
Sorry?
Or it's been-
The hearing is closed.
Okay,
Yeah, the hearing was closed last month.
but the letters that were written were in by Friday too.
They're part of the record.
Right.
That's why I asked to make sure that everyone had
Right, okay.
reviewed them and if you had any questions
Okay.
on any of them. do you want to say you're making?
No, that all makes sense to us. We, the bond,
Okay.
we understand that process. We've done that process before, so we're comfortable with that. We got John to okay, then, there's a 10% contingency. And same with the HOA from what was initially, sort of outlined and being just a stormwater and common space, the center meeting and sidewalks. Being in that, understanding that the better way to go about that is to include everything, including utility and street. Now, build the street to city specs, get necessary inspections and that sort of thing. So that way, if the city does decide that they're willing to adopt the street, all that stuff has been in place during the build process. And then we would remove that from the HOA. If they decide not to take the street, then the HOA remains as written.
I know that some of the comments were on the stormwater system that's been modified. There's no outfall any longer to any adjacent property.
Correct.
And that the city engineer has reviewed the stormwater system. So that is another change that has taken place in the last, 3-4 months?
Yeah, maybe
the
the last 2
design
months or so.
back and
last
forth.
two. Yeah.
And the details were all revised and amended, and the engineer has looked at all. So those are all taken care of. That was another concern.
And I know the major waivers included in as part of the
Right.
resolution.
The one waiver that is required is for the dead end flows, and that is included with all design. We reviewed the design with the fire department and with Department of Public Works, and both of them have signed off on this. The median was cut back a little and it's slightly narrower at the end to allow the turning radiuses that are needed. Any comments?
No.
Questions? No. Good.
All right, I have 2 resolutions. First one is a resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board adopting a determination of negative declaration of environmental significance.
Before you read the resolution, you should all have parts 2 and 3 in your packets with the seeker form, the full environmental assessment form.
That was fine. That was fine.
Them up, okay. So part 1 was completed and was in all of the documents that you had the opportunity to look at. Have you all looked at part 1?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you feel that there are any further studies or assessments that are needed for you to make a determination?
No.
Okay, so part 2, you can review that. Kyla, you gonna put that up or?
Do you remember where we have it here?
That- So go through these.
Yep,
One hard copy or
I'd like the hard copy.
you need to see it. So the first question of part 2 is the impact on land.
Proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. We have indicated yes. A, the proposed action may involve construction on land where depth to water table is less than 3 feet. No or small impact may occur. We have to go with concurrence on each letter, or do we?
Yeah, just go with.
Everybody concurs with that?
Yes.
Okay. The proposed action may involve construction on slopes of 15% or greater. No or small impact may occur. Good with that?
Yes.
The proposed action may involve construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 feet of the existing ground surface. No or small impact may occur. Concur? D, the proposed action may involve the excavation and removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. No or small impact may occur.
Agreed.
Agree? Yeah. The proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. There's moderate to large impact that may occur. We all concur with that?
Yeah.
Agreed.
The proposed action may result in increased erosion, whether from physical disturbance or vegetation removal, including from treatment by herbicides. No or small impact may occur. You agree?
Agreed.
G, the proposed action is or may be located within a coastal erosion hazard area. Be done. Fair with that? Two, impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site. Examples are cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, or caves. The answer is no. We all concur with that? Agree? 3, impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water. Examples are streams, rivers, ponds, or lakes. The answer is no. Concur with that? You agree? 4, impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or
Comment on this one. I think the last one should have been yes. And then the other impacts that's listed here, which is the DEC jurisdictional letter for wetlands, they received that. So the last one, 3 would have been a yes with the other impact of, do you understand what I'm saying?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you need to initial that.
Here, so
You have to answer all like A through G. Bill?
yeah, no. This should be yes. The surface water would be yes. And then the other would be the apply for and receive the wetland jurisdiction letter. And that would be small to moderate impact, and then the impact on groundwater would be no. And the other is not an issue. Okay.
So we're moving fast around.
All right, we gotta go back to impact on land.
So impact on flooding, you're at.
For 5.
Yeah, but I didn't read this part in here.
That's the one I changed. I moved
Okay,
that up
okay.
to there.
Okay. All right, so we're moving on to 5. Impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in development on land subject to flooding. And the answer there is yes. Moving into item D on there is the proposed action may result in or require modification of existing drainage patterns. No or small impact may occur. That we concur with that?
Yes.
Agree? Okay. And G, you got an answer G?
Yeah.
Other impacts, stormwater, this is still on 5. Stormwater is being addressed so that no post-development runoff will exceed pre-development. And that is no or small impact may occur. We concur with that? Agree. Agreed. Impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emission source. The answer is no. We concur with that. Agreed. 7, impact on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna. The answer is yes. A, the proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals of any threatened or endangered species as listed by New York State or the federal government that use this site or are found on, over, or near the site. We have no or small impact may occur. We agree with that? We concur. B, the proposed action may result in a reduction or a degradation of any habitat used by any rare, threatened, or endangered species as listed by New York State or the federal government. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed.
Agreed.
The proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals of any species of special concern or conservation need as listed by New York State or the federal government that use this site or are found on, over, or near the site. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. We agree. The proposed action may result in a reduction or degradation of any habitat used by any species of special concern and conservation need as listed by the New York State or federal government. No or small impact may occur. We agree? Agree. E, the proposed action may diminish the capacity of a registered national natural landmark to support the biological community it was established to protect. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. F, the proposed action may result in the removal of or ground disturbance in any portion of a designated significant natural community. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. What letter am I on here, Sue? F? No, G.
G.
Which one? Here. You do,
G. Oh, you're right.
F. No. The proposed action may result in removal of or ground disturbance in any portion of a designated significant natural community. No or small impact may occur. Agreed?
Agreed.
G, the proposed action may substantially interfere with nesting, breeding, foraging, or overwintering habitat for the predominant species that occupy or use the project site. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? H, the proposed action requires the conversion of more than 10 acres of forest, grassland, or any other regionally or locally important habitat. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. I, proposed action with commercial, industrial, or recreational projects only involves use of herbicides or pesticides. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. Section 8, impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. The answer is no. Concur with that? Agreed. 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or are in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. The answer is no. We agree? We agree. 10, impact on historic or archaeological resources. Proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource? The answer is no. Karen? Agreed. 11, impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction of an open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. The answer is no. Correct?
Agreed.
12, impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within, or adjacent to a critical environmental area. The answer is no. We agree? Agreed. 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change of existing transportation systems. The answer is yes. We agree with that? Okay. A, in this section is projected traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing road network. No or small impact may occur. We agree?
Agreed.
Okay. B, the proposed action may result in the construction of paved parking area for 500 or more vehicles. No or small impact may occur. Agreed?
Agreed.
We agree. Proposed action will degrade existing transit access. No or small impact may occur. Agree? We agree. The proposed action will degrade existing pedestrian or bicycle accommodations. No or small impact may occur. Agree? We agree. E is the proposed action may alter the present pattern of movement of people or goods. No or small impact may occur. Do you agree with that?
Agreed.
Agree. F, other impacts. Traffic analysis completed in 2021 deemed satisfactory to demonstrate no impact. There's no or small impact may occur. We agree with that?
Agreed.
Agree. 14, impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. The answer is yes. Agreed? Okay. A, the proposed action will require a new or an upgrade to an existing substation. No or small impact may occur. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. B, the proposed action will require the creation or extension of an energy transmission or supply system to serve more than 50 single or two-family residences or to serve a commercial or industrial use. No or small impact may occur. Agree? Agree. C, the proposed action may utilize more than 2,500 megawatt hours per year of electricity. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. The proposed action may involve heating and or cooling of more than 100,000 square feet of building area when completed. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. 15, impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. The answer is yes. Do you agree with that? Agreed. A, the proposed action may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. B, the proposed action may result in blasting within 1,500 feet of any residence, hospital, school, licensed daycare center, or nursing home. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? We agree. C, the proposed action may result in routine odors for more than 1 hour per day. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. D, the proposed action may result in light shining onto adjoining properties. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. E, the proposed action may result in lighting, creating sky glow brighter than existing area conditions. No or small impact may occur. Agreed? Agreed. Impact on human health. Number 16. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new for existing sources of contaminants? The answer is no. We agree with that?
Agree.
Agree. 17, consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. The answer is no. We agree with that? Agree. 18, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character. The answer is no. Do we agree with that?
Agree.
Agree. All right, that completes this one.
Part 3.
People are going to be taking turns. These.
Around Robin.
Yeah, it's going to be. That's why Robert's over here. So this all have to be read and complete.
Yeah, just, you, in your part 2, you had answered the one question under impact on land. Where it read, the proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year or in phases. You answered that with a moderate to large impact may occur. So that requires you to provide a verbal finding in part 3, so you can read
I'm going to
the,
read this one.
yes,
Okay.
that's your finding.
All right, so the reason supporting this determination. One question identified under the FEAF was marked as with a quote, moderate to large impact may occur, end quote. This is the question of whether the project construction may continue for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. The project is proposed to be a 15-lot subdivision with a new road. The applicants noted a timeline of 12 to 24 months. The initial work will include construction of the roadway with utilities. After completion, it is unknown whether the residential building will be constructed at one time or whether the parcels will be sold and constructed over time. This could result in a construction for more than 1 year or in multiple phases. The City of Kingston noise ordinance is in effect to limit disturbance to neighbors for extended periods of time at night, weekends, and holidays. Any deviation from the noise ordinance will require a noise permit. Construction entrances and perimeter fencing will be installed with screening along the Bluestone Court side of the project is being developed as a walkable neighborhood under the City of Kingston form-based code. Under the plan, the use of each property is defined specifically with a building type. Any deviation from this type of new construction will require that the owner of the property return to the planning board to seek authorization, confirm that there is a continued compliance and no thresholds of the current review are exceeded. Otherwise, seek a review may be reinitiated to address. So, the seeker status is type 1. We've got to go back on this one too. Portions of the EAF completed for this project are part 1, 2, and 3. Upon review of the information recorded on this EAF, as noted, plus this additional support information, subdivision and walkable neighborhood plans, the SWIFT wetland jurisdictional review, DEC, and public comment. And considering both the magnitude and importance of each identified potential impact, it is the conclusion of the City of Kingston Planning Board as lead agency that A, this project will result in no significant adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore an environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Accordingly, this negative declaration is issued. All right, now we go on to the resolution. Yeah. I'll start. Okay. Okay, resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board adopting a determination of negative declaration of environmental significance, 21 Bluestone Court, section block and lot, 56.88-4-7, under the seeker process, 6 NYC RR, part 617. Whereas SSLI Holdings LLC, the applicant, has submitted a complete Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form to the City of Kingston Planning Board to subdivide a 2.698 acre parcel into 15 residential lots for the purposes of creating a walkable neighborhood plan as defined under the City of Kingston Form-Based Code, Section 405.25, large site standards, which in parentheses the action. And whereas the project is located at 21 Bluestone Court, Kingston, New York, SBL 56.88-4-7. And whereas although the application is considered unlisted action under 6 NYCRR Part 617, which is the New York State Department of Conservation seeker, it is recognized as a type 1 action by the Ulster County Department of Health pursuant to the New York State Department of Health criteria and therefore must be treated as such. And whereas after receiving no objections, the planning board adopted a resolution dated March 17th, 2025, declaring themselves as lead agency in the seeker review and considered all documentation submitted to determine significance of the action on the environment in compliance with the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, the seeker, and the regulations promulgated there under, which are the regulations by the New York Department of Environmental Conservation, 6 NYCRR Part 617. And whereas the applicants have submitted plans and applications submitted, as well as additional information requested by the planning board, including New York State DEC wetland jurisdictional determination on September 16th, 2025, stormwater pollution prevention plan updated September 2025, minor waiver application for dead end roadway, September 1st, 2024. Traffic study documentation is filed under multifamily proposal and accepted by the planning board as satisfactory in 2021. Applicant responses to the city engineer's review of plans and documents, October of 2025. Plan updates reflecting the requirement of city fire department for turnaround area and hydrant placement. Street lighting specifications from November 11th, 2025, and Kingston Water Department comment on installation and procedure. Whereas the findings and recommendations of the above documents were applicable and be incorporated. And whereas the planning board conducted a public hearing opening on March 17th, 2025, and closing at the November 17th, 2025 meeting. Said hearing produced verbal and written comments, all made part of the record, and which have been reviewed and considered by the board, resulted in certain plan changes being incorporated to address some of the points and concerns received. And whereas the board circulated for comment and reviewed and considered statements received from the Ulster County Planning Board and City Parks and Recreation Commission. And whereas the board completed and incorporated parts 2 and 3 of the FEAF, and whereas the board has reviewed a negative declaration, notice of determination, along with all supporting plans and documents as herein identified and as noted on the attached Schedule A. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1, that pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617, the City of Kingston Planning Board hereby renders a determination of negative environmental significance, recognizing all conditions as described with the document presented and adopts the negative determination as final. Section 2, that all identified, involved, and interested agencies will be notified of the Kingston Planning Board determination of this decision. Section 3, that the Kingston Planning Office is directed to submit notice to the State Environmental News Bulletin for publication as required by the statute. Section 4, that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Make a motion that we adopt this resolution. You have a second? Second by Vince Archer. All in favor? Wayne Platt is a yes. Vince Archer?
Yes.
Sage Newkirk?
Yes.
Andrew Harris?
Yes.
Kyra Grundy?
Yes.
We still have Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, yes, no, that's good.
All right, this is adopted. We don't have it out to you then. Okay, see you bye.
Resolution of the City of Kingston Planning Board approving the subdivision and walkable neighborhood plan with a new street and supporting infrastructure and a minor waiver for a dead-end street at number 21 Bluestone Court, Kingston, New York, 12401, SBL 56.88-4-7. Whereas SSLI Holdings LLC applicant submitted applications, plans, and other supporting documentation to the City of Kingston Planning Board, Friends Board, for subdivision of a 2.7 acre parcel, creation of a walkable neighborhood plan, Friends WNP, and approval of a minor waiver for a dead-end street under the City of Kingston Form-Based Code, Friends Action. And whereas the action is located at number 22 Bluestone Court, SBL 56.88-4-7 in the City of Kingston. And whereas the board determined the action to be a type 1 action as adopted by the Ulster County Health Department under seeker pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617, the application underwent a coordinated review process, Friends Planning Board Resolution, October 21st, 2024. With the Planning Board declaring lead agency role under Planning Board Resolution, March 17th, 2025. And whereas pursuant to 6 NYCR 617, board adopted as a final determination of non-significance by resolution dated December 8th, 2020. And whereas the action requires a minor waiver for a dead-end street, meeting the requirements of the section 405.25.2 of form-based code. However, at the determination of the planning administrator, said waiver is to be considered by the planning board in consideration of the required planning board actions and reviews involving a 15-lot subdivision with a new road and infrastructure and approval of a WNP. And whereas the applicant submitted applications and supporting documentation and review was initiated at the October 21st, 2024 planning board meeting, followed by further review at planning board meetings of March 17th, 2025, April 21st, 2025, and November 17th, 2025. Discuss new and supplemental materials provided. And whereas the board opened a public hearing on March 17th, 2025 for a subdivision and walkable neighborhood plan with minor waiver, which remained open until it was closed at the November 17th, 2025 planning board meeting. Said hearing produced verbal and written comments along with responses to comments from the applicant and or their representatives, all made part of the record and having been reviewed by the board. And applicant resulted in certain plan changes to address some of the points and concerns received. And whereas the board has reviewed and considered comments from the city engineer, city fire chief, Kingston Water Department, Kingston Conservation Advisory Council, Ulster County Planning Board, and the applicant's responses. And whereas the board did not require a separate traffic impact analysis, recognizing the traffic analysis completed under the previous application for a multifamily housing development in 2021. And whereas all documentation outlined in attachment A, review document listing, dated December 8th, 2025, and public comments, both written and oral testimony, along with associated responses, are made part of this review in their full form. And whereas all comments, supporting documentation, plans, relevant studies, and meeting documents are posted to this City of Kingston website for access by the public. And whereas the action was referred to the Ulster County Planning Board and a recommendation was returned under referral number 2025-042 and 043 dated 4/2/2025. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Kingston Planning Board as follows. Section 1, after thorough review of all documentation and associated agency comments, the board votes to approve the subdivision and walkable neighborhood plan utilizing the T3N designation with the creation of 15 residential building lots, 9 small multiplexes, and 6 duplexes as specified on the WNP drawing. Said revision 16 dated November 21st, 2025, and to construct a new dead-end street with lighting, install sewer and water extensions, stormwater infrastructure, pedestrian accommodations, landscaping, and establish a homeowners association with conditions as identified in the following statements. Section 2. Approval shall include all conditions as follows. Submission of a detailed cost estimate of all site improvements for review and approval of the city engineer, including a standard 10% contingency to the bottom line for purposes of defining the amount to be set for the required performance bond. Submission of the required performance bond in a form satisfactory to the planning staff and corporation council in the amount as prescribed by the city engineer before any permits are issued for work. Periodic reductions in the performance bond are permitted with documentation of work completed and accepted by the city. Final release of the performance bond shall receipt of a certified as-built plan, certified as-built plans and engineering, Kingston Water, DPW sign off as required. No final certificate of occupancy shall be issued until all of the site improvements and infrastructure complete in full and as-built plans are submitted and signed off. All improvements within any public right-of-way shall have final sign-off and associated permits issued by the Department of Public Works and have sign-off of design prior to construction, including required profiles and construction inspection during project and final acceptance by the city engineer. Full compliance with the contents of the SWIP dated September 2025, along with supplemental reports and calculations and engineering requirements. Final sign off from the water department is required. The applicants work directly with the KWD on the final layout of services and provisions for water easement from Lucas Avenue into the property and will work with the water board on an extension and dedication of the water line. Reference 12/2/2025 email from M. Dessard, KWD superintendent. Compliance with the requests of the Kingston Fire Chief, including those outlined in email dated 12/3/2025. The central median will serve as part of the stormwater collection system and will further contribute to the required public open space and provide pedestrian seating and a pathway that will connect beyond the median out to Lucas Ave through a sidewalk installation and all meeting ADA regulations. Each lot shall include a D restriction requiring a driveway for a minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces behind the front facade of the primary building. The following board policies are hereby incorporated. Policy 1(1)A. Don't need to read what each of these are. Could I just
the number.
Sorry. Policy 2(2)A. Policy 3(3)A and 3(B). Policy 4(4)A. Policy 6. Policy 7. Policy 8(8)A, 12, 13, 13A, 14, 14A, 17, 17A, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. Conformance with all plans, documents, and specifications as defined by attachment A, review documents dated December 8th, 2025, unless otherwise noted herein. Creation of the homeowners association offering plans submitted in the city of Kingston for review and filed with the Attorney General for approval. The HOA shall be responsible for all shared spaces as shown in the final plans, including but not limited to streets, sidewalks, landscaping, public amenities, stormwater systems, etc. Unless and until the city of Kingston Common Council and this Kingston Water Board accept dedication of the street and associated utilities. These shall be the responsibility of the HOA. This approval does not in any way suggest or imply the city will accept future dedication of any streets, utilities, amenities, or shared spaces. Therefore, the HOA shall be filed with a clause to include the roadway, street lighting, refuse, and recycling collection, snow removal, maintenance, and utilities.
Keep going. Good.
I don't want to keep going. I will.
I'll tell you how to jump in. I got you.
Yeah, go for it.
As-built drawings will be certified by a design professional and provided to the planning office for all newly constructed and installed plant elements prior to any final bond release and final certificate of occupancy. Submit copies of filed easement agreements. Proof of filings is required prior to issuance of any building permits. The subdivision and new property deed shall be filed at the Ulster County Clerk's office with proof of filing provided to the city planning office prior to the issuance of any permits. A street name will be created following the procedures set by Ulster County Emergency Services. Final roadway designs and details will require sign off by the city engineer. The applicants can pursue dedication as a city street for the City of Kingston Common Council. Compliance with all mitigation measures as defined in the adopted negative declaration of environmental significance of December 8th, 2025 by the board. All properties designated for the development with small multiplex building type shall follow architectural standards outlined under section 405.14C through 405.14G of the form-based code, and the board strongly encourages all duplex building types to do the same. No building permit for a new house no building permit for new housing shall be issued until the following items are completed. HOA is formally established with approved offering plan filed with the city assessor, planning office, and city clerk. Roadway constructed along with all required improvements, including curbage, signage, drainage, and lighting to the satisfaction of the appropriate city agencies. Full stormwater systems complete and deemed satisfactory to the DPW and city engineer. Kingston Water Department sign off on construction potable water supply system and any necessary components, including fire hydrants, backflow devices, etc. Any and all amendments to all filed HOA offering plan will be submitted to the City of Kingston assessor for review prior to filing with the state. Final amendments shall be filed with the assessor after approvals. The sidewalk extension ending at Lucas shall be finished in a T configuration that provides for future connectivity in the future. Permit shall be obtained from DPW for all work in the public realm. Section 4, the board finds that this anticipated increase in population as defined by creating 15 residential building lots containing 9 small multiplexes and 6 duplex building types, equating to a minimum of 39 units, shall cause a need for continued upkeep and improvement to park facilities, which provide recreation opportunities to residents. Recognizing that the project does offer private open space as required for each building type, these increases in housing and population require strategic planning to meet the needs of our residents and provide high-quality life experiences for all. Each impact, small or large, must be taken into consideration so the city can best prepare for the future of our community spaces and offerings. The board recognizes that the Recreation Trust Fund is utilized to help supply and maintain playgrounds, pavilions, and amenities, contribute back to the city's parks and programs, which allows for the Recreation Department to enhance its recreational opportunities to meet the growing community needs. The board hereby directs the applicant to remit a payment in lieu of parkland to be placed in the Recreation Trust Fund, the amount determined as followed, noting that no permits of any type shall be issued until the fee is submitted to the City of Kingston. Considering a minimum gain of 39 units in total, the planning board makes the following decision. 39 units exempt the first 7 units. Section 405.21Q of the form-based code leaves a balance of 32 units. Assessed at the full $3,000 per unit for the final payment in lieu of parkland assessment imposed for this development is $96,000. This payment amount is set and once paid is non-refundable. If the minimum unit count is increased as a result of change in building types, the applicant will be assessed a new additional fee per increased unit count and the current rate at the time of the review. Section 5, the board concurs with the recommendations of the Ulster County Planning Board dated April 2nd, 2025, and accepts the responses provided by the applicant via letter dated November 18th, 2025, which include required modifications for easements and stormwater, lot layouts, truck access, and pedestrian and bicycle access, along with an advisory comment regarding parking boulevard standard two-way design. Both documents have been made part of this decision by reference. Section 6, the final WNP regulation map will be transferred to the Kingston regulating map for future development. Any change to the building topography as depicted on the individual developable parcels shall be brought back to the planning board for review and consideration as an amendment to the WNP and zoning map. Section 7, development of any lot with 4 or more units shall return to the planning board for site plan review and approval. Section 8, the proposed dead-end street requires a minor waiver from the planning administrator. However, due to the complex and thorough review associated with the walkable neighborhood plan, staff recommended that the waiver decision be considered as part of the full review of the board. Board finds the following with respect to the minor waiver in the form-based code. 1, dead-end streets, 405.25, large site standards, in parens 2, parens D, parens IV. Dead-end streets are not permitted unless approved as a minor waiver. Any dead end must be detailed as a closed, in parentheses, small green area surrounded by a common driveway serving adjoining lots and should provide pedestrian connectivity to the maximum extended practicable. Provided waiver includes a dead-end street in a one-way pattern surrounding a landscaped median with a meandering sidewalk and benches. The street also includes an extended pull-off for emergency services and maintenance vehicles. Considerations, the site is limited in size and layout and with no potential for an additional street connection. There is only one access point onto a stone court and the connection to Lucas Ave is not optimal. Finding, although this is a minor waiver, the planning administrator has elevated it to be considered alongside the planning board's other review of the subdivision walkable neighborhood plan to streamline the review. After significant review, consideration of alternative configurations and development of pedestrian and landscape accommodations, the minor waiver is granted. Section 9, the board finds that the traffic analysis and supporting documentation submitted in the review of a multifamily apartment proposal is satisfactory to evaluate the impacts of the current proposal given the similarity in average unit count and no substantial change in traffic patterns or issues impacting traffic flows. Section 10, approval of the board does not eliminate the need for obtaining the appropriate permits and approvals from other boards, commissions, departments, and relevant agencies. Section 11, this approval shall be valid for 1 year for the purpose of obtaining a building permit. Section 12, that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Over here.
Okay. With the motion that we adopt this resolution, is there a second on that? Second by Andrew Harris. Roll call vote, Wayne Platt is a yes. Vince Archer? Yes. Sage Newkirk?
Yes.
Kyra Grundy?
Yes.
Andrew Harris?
Yes.
Is adopted. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, the board.
Thank you, guys. Okay, item number 7. What was that?
Oh, no.
Yes, almost there.
All right, 296, 290, 312, 322 East Strand. Site plan to establish a cultural institution in an existing building with one major, an access dimension, and one minor waiver, extra curb cuts. Section block and lot is 56.36-1-15, 16, and 17. Secret determination, transit zone SD-W/SP-WMU. Ward 8, Hudson Valley Irish Cultural Center Incorporated is the applicant's owner. Got some team here. Maybe you want to introduce us to three, this would be fine, probably.
I'm Dennis Larios, engineer for the project.
I'm Bill Carney. I'm the president of the board director.
Michael Moriello, the attorney for the code.
All right, we got some displays up behind here, Dennis.
Okay, well, some changes from the prior month's submission. Remove the parking here, so everything was at least 30 feet off the street. Added a bike rack there with a bike rack detail on the sheet 2. These gravel lot spaces here. As I think you know from last month, this site is previously developed, the building and the parking. We reoriented the parking to make room for a refuse, and recycling area. And also to make room for a public access easement to be granted to the city of Kingston, 12.5 feet wide along our southern property boundary, which currently would lead from the street to the old trolley track.
And that jog there is actually your property line, right? That was
The jog is our property line, yes.
Yeah.
This is historic Kingston waterfront
Okay.
there and on both sides of Central Hudson. Also between the tracks and the creek. And we've addressed a few other comments that staff comments from prior months as well. But not a lot of changes other than this easement, rearranging the parking.
This is full 12 feet.
So
We were talking about 6 and then 6 from the adjacent. This is just full 12 here.
We were told we could only go down to 12.5.
Okay.
So when the other property is developed, that will take up the other half of
Correct.
the,
Oh, I thought we were talking about 12 total split between the two.
It was 40 for the
Oh,
12 if you were along the waterfront.
Okay, all right.
40 if you were along.
Okay.
so as folks, as board members, as you know, when that next property is developed, that will be mirroring
Okay.
the same width.
Yeah, I mean, they can mirror the configuration, or they can just do a straight shot. And in the end, will just be maybe a little wider space,
Yeah.
That'll be something that we'll talk about with the adjoining property owner. So one of the things would be a condition of approval would be that right of way easement language for public access would require a final approval of our corporation council, that we haven't reached the actual, the document has not been finalized yet, so that would be with staff review and approval, and it would get filed with the county, so it's filed easement. Okay.
And you still have monitoring wells on this property, right?
Yes, and they're shown on the plans. They run mostly on the eastern end of the property.
And I know there was a sunset discussed at the previous meeting. What was the time? Do you know?
We're anticipating 2 years, but there is no definitive date.
Okay.
They were down there the other day. Well, we had a a consultant go down there the other day and do some testing at those wells, and then we have to submit a report to DEC.
Okay. So once that sunset occurs, those things get pulled, or what do they do with them?
I don't think they get pulled, but it would allow certain activities to take place in the
Yeah, I mean,
property.
you can disturb land or.
Not right now.
If you, at that time.
Yes.
We were not even talking about that, right?
But we'd be
There's a
back in front of the board
possibility. Yeah.
if there is a,
But you could still have events on there, even,
Correct.
just not disturbing any land, so,
Correct.
yeah.
That's why we put all the lighting on the building instead of put poles in, things like that.
yeah, the lighting is mounted to the building, the back of the building, and a replacement of on this side. This would be the main entrance at this sliding gate. And we requested a waiver to keep the other two curb cuts that already exist. One really to access this end of the property and the monitoring wells, and the other to support your public access easement.
Will the sliding gate on the southern side be removed?
This is a swing gate.
Okay.
So we'd leave that up to the city as far as this half of it.
Okay.
Whether they want it removed or just opened and closed. Obviously, there's some concerns about this being so close to the building. But
Is there an actual delineation that's on the ground to show that? It's just, no?
no, this is paved area. There's a gas regulator valve there and some other mechanicals. But it's just close to the building. That's the biggest concern.
But still, you'll be able to, you know, move, if you have to move equipment in and out, I mean, they can drive over that, right? That's so the,
Sure.
yeah, so it's.
Yeah, that'll be all there. Whatever they.
Any questions?
Like, where are you with the historic status? I mean,
We're good. We were deemed eligible for listing, by, well, and have that designation. That also been provided to the building department. And they've, as it was done at 7 and set a time, so we will not have to ruin the beautiful interior of that building with a lot of energy upgrades and building code, current building code requirements.
So the subdivision map was filed, but the final deed has not been filed.
Deed been filed, yeah, been
Is
recorded.
the county still showing it as 3 parcels? They haven't.
Yeah, they probably haven't picked it up.
Takes a while, usually a couple months, 3 months.
Yeah,
And I thought, I will look through
yeah.
a copy of the stamped, and I'll check and make sure
Okay.
that
All right.
I send it to you.
Because what they're doing now in the county is if they get a subdivision map, they're not modifying the tax maps until the deed is actually filed.
Yeah. Yeah, that was filed, but I probably didn't pick it up until tax and status date.
Okay, all right, so they've been quicker, they've been.
But I will
doing it
look
quicker.
again to make sure I got it for you, a copy.
Okay. And I did speak with Scott today. He's going to also be submitting revised interior floor plans to conform to the actual site plan. So we'll get that consistent.
So with the public access there, is there hours that's regulated
That
there?
will be negotiated with the city.
Okay. So the swing gate will still be there, still go to swing gate, it's gonna,
That part of it will be up.
Yeah, potentially the gate will
Whatever, great.
go away, and once you get the other half of the easement in place, that gate will probably just disappear. Just let that happen.
so at that time, would there be the hard delineation or I mean, fencing or something that would,
Well, right now it's an easement. If the city ultimately, if things change and the city takes title to it, it could be a whole different, development. I mean, but until that happens, it's left as it is right now.
and that's something you folks were warned to, right, to have the city take possession of that, is that was something,
I think that the preference.
I know we're looking into the future now, but I mean, is that like?
I think the preference is that the easement remain in place. I don't think a fee conveyance is what is anticipated in the future.
With easement there, it's the city responsible for keeping it clear of snow and stuff. Or would
All
that
gonna
need
be
to be-
negotiated with
Okay.
the easement
All right, gotcha.
responsible for what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one that we did for
AVR years ago that we did with the planning board and with Corporation Council, which were very involved. It was a lot bigger project than this huge project. But a lot of those same, it's a lot of those same issues come up, even if it's a small, those same issues come up, so.
I know that ones that we've done along the waterfront.
Yeah.
In the past, they're treated somewhat like sidewalks.
Right.
And so the budding property owner, the person who has the land ownership takes care of this.
Is all of the negotiation of the easement also encompassing that getting over the trolley line too? Is that all part of that?
We can't control,
I know, but is that, not that you're gonna be compelled to do something, but is that all part of the talks on how to get that easement over the line is?
It's not part of this discussion. The city has its own easement, along the line there. It's a 99-year lease that we have, so I'm not sure. It's not part of this easement discussion.
Well, I was against the easement to nowhere last month, but I can't do anything about it. I'm compelled. I think you know my feelings on that.
I want to say.
Well, I appreciate you putting it in there.
These folks, anything else to wrap this up, pretty good?
No, there's no signage at this point in time, so that in the future, should they decide to put anything on the building, they would just need to follow the protocol for review. Form-based code tells you what you can have, gives you the parameters. There's a review process for that. If it exceeds that, then we discuss waivers or variances. But it wouldn't have to come back to the board if it forms to the code. There is no cost estimate to determine whether a bond is required. I don't know that the site work is going to exceed $25,000. Dennis, the sense of that, and it's some minor grading and landscaping, lighting.
Get all together with the lighting, include the lighting, which is gonna be building mounted lighting. They might push it over that, right?
Okay. So what I would suggest is that they submit that detailed cost estimate to staff, and if it's over 25,000, then a bond is required. If it's under, are you comfortable with not requiring one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you get John to look at that too, right?
John will have to review and approve it, yes.
Where are we in the second curve cut thing? We gotta do a separate.
What are the board's thoughts on
I think the curb cut, the second curb cut kind of allows for that public easement to be there. Be comfortable granting them that.
There's a third one too on North Street. So there are 3 total.
Okay.
This is the other one.
Right.
Excellent.
Are they all 3 existing right now? Yes.
Yes, they are.
Oh, this was also 3 parcels a couple months ago.
I mean, it's not like 3 curb cuts all in quick, just that succession. It's on a totally different street. I'm fine with that.
Okay. What about the waiver for the dimension? The dimensional waiver is that the easement technically is required to be 40 feet. They don't have 40 feet, first of all,
Yeah.
between the building and the property line. So there's reasonable justification. And the portion that they're putting on their lot is half of what will be part of the final easement, the other. So,
Yeah, and we've discussed that at length. The other development's gonna mirror that to complete whatever the required easement is right there.
Every 40 feet would go 16 feet into the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, everybody else is good with that?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
The new code sometimes didn't anticipate adaptive reuse, and things that it almost reads like the parcels are vacant and they're not.
Yeah, we can plan around it.
Yeah. Things there already.
Okay.
All right, does the board have any other questions?
No.
Any of you guys, you good? Okay. Under seeker, or do you have anything else?
No.
Okay.
We discussed that last month, sorry, I didn't got that note, it is a type 2,
It says type 2.
yeah, then it goes on a little bit.
Yeah, because it encompasses the minor waivers then, right? Because I need to put that in there. No?
Yeah.
We're confirming it's a type 2. All right. We are confirming it's a type 2, so no further review of the board is required at this time. Okay, we're confirming that. All right. You know, when you throw extra verbiage in there, it kind of throws me off. How that does.
just seemed you're awake at the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
That's a 5-page.
Just imagine if I read the whole resolution.
Yeah, read the resolution.
We'd still be here. Okay, so Sue's gonna go over the list of policies and
Okay,
conditions.
so we have board policies 4, 4A, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, and 24. A major waiver for the right-of-way width is approved, citing the adaptive reuse of the building. The 40 feet is not possible with given existing location of the property line and building. And it is approximately half of the available space, leaving space for access to their building. The minor waiver is also recognized and approved as the properties were 3 parcels, 3 curb cuts pre-existed, and 1 is to be used for the public access. The conditions of the approval are that the right-of-way easement for public access will require corporation council and staff review and approval. It will be also filed at the Ulster County Clerk's Office, and proof of filing will be submitted to the planning. They'll submit an updated protocol to conform to the site plan. Any signage will follow the form-based code protocol for review. And form-based code will return to the board. Performance bond, detailed cost estimate will be submitted for review and approval by the city engineer. If it is over 25,000, a bond will be provided with a 10% contingency in a form suitable to corporation council and staff. If it's under, no bond is required. So I have.
Okay, as Sue has just mentioned, I will formulate that into a motion that we approve item number 7. Do I have a second? Second by Andrew Harris.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Good luck, folks.
Thank you very much for
Super.
What?
Will you have a written decision fairly soon? Or something that-
Yeah.
Okay, oh, yeah, that's. Want to get any other.
Okay. Do you want it? Will you mail it? Yeah.
Necessary. I take it. Very.
Sitting there, you know, all night. Well, gives me the. I picked a good one.
I sent it Dennis. I said like, the Luke's project took 4 years and tonight was.
All I know is I heard